Hmm. So welcome everyone to the 2026 Global Youth Challenge. Our subject this year was artificial intelligence and the future of work. My name is Philip Desjardins, and I'll be your MC for this competition and the final. So I want to welcome all the finalists. We have 16 young men and women. We have judges. We also have a number of guests who will be observing today's competition final. And I also want to welcome any volunteers. Um, this is my third year as the MC for the Global Youth Challenge, and I'm thrilled to be invited to come back again this year. I'm an active high school teacher, but I've also in the past been a television producer and director. And in 1986, I had my first interaction with artificial intelligence when I produced 2 hours worth of public television on the very subject. And in fact, one of the people that I met there during that production was John McCarthy, the man who was teaching at Stanford University, who actually came up with the term AI. We've been talking about machine learning before that, but he said, let's call that artificial intelligence. So um, I'm mentioning that because Ella Min, who was one of our judges and who was a winner from last year, is going to be attending Stanford University. So uh, congratulations to you, Ella, and thank you for offering to become one of our judges. So as I said, we have 16 finalists. In fact, they represent 10 nations. We have finalists from Brazil, Canada, China, Indonesia, the Republic of Korea, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Taiwan, the United States, and Vietnam. And I'm also pleased to say that young women this year outnumber the young men by 3 to 1. So we have a lot of young ladies who've agreed to enter the competitions. Congratulations to you all. I want to begin by acknowledging the institutions who are supporting Global Youth Challenge this year. The first one is the University of Toronto, Toronto Metropolitan University, York University, the University of Waterloo, Brock University. Here we go. Sorry. Toronto Metropolitan University, York University, University of Waterloo, Brock University, and finally the Arundel Academy. So thank you very much, all of you, for your continued support. So I'm going to introduce our judges. Our first judge is Ella Min, who I said is an incoming student at the Stanford University. Our second judge is Professor Howard Lin, a professor at Toronto Metropolitan University. Also, let me say that before Howard Lin, just put up that photo again. Professor is also connected with the Ted Rogers School of Business Management, and he is the director of the Canada-China Institute for Business Development. This is Judge Katrin Cole. Katrin is a professor in the Faculty of Education at York University in Toronto, Canada. And she's the executive coordinator of the UNESCO Chair in Reorienting Education Towards Sustainability. Our next judge is Priti Raman. Priti Raman is a professor in the Computer Science Department at Toronto Metropolitan University, and she leads the Computational Innovations and Research for Care-Centered Learning and Educational Lab, known as CIRCLE. And George Vandekeer is a principal at the Arundel Academy here in Canada. As I said, Jim Slota will be joining us slightly later, and when he does come in, I'll introduce him. So our finalists are organized into four different groups. The first group consists of just 4 students. First student is Shin Ai Tsai. Second finalist is Shahd Alsayed. Number 3 is Alina Bansal. And number 4 is Jung. Our second group of finalists include Dyuthi Dhawan, Andrea Dolo, Mccay, and Hanuk. Our third group of finalists include Ha In-yuen, Arshia Sharda, Tong, and Wen Hang. And our final group, number 4, consists of Ivan Yu, Jung, Aaron Jung, and Wen Song. So let me explain again how the competition will proceed and the judging criteria. So each individual finalist in each group will have 3 to 4 minutes presentation time. You will be asked 2 questions by the judges, and you'll have a maximum of 2 minutes to respond to each of those questions. The judging criteria consists of presentations that are judged on the basis of their originality, your ability to communicate and speak in defense of your presentation, the accuracy of the information that's contained in your presentation, and your overall presentation style. So I want to remind you again that you'll have a total of 3 to 4 minutes for your presentation. So now let's introduce our Group 1 finalists. Our first finalist presentation will come from Shin Ai Tsai. Shin, you will be, after your presentation, you will be asked questions from Professor Katrin Ko and a question from Judge Elamin.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Good morning, distinguished judges and fellow participants. It's truly an honor to be the first speaker today, and thank you for this valuable opportunity to be here. Have you ever stood in a crowded night market, waiting in a long line, while hearing the sizzling sounds of food and the lively voices all around you? My name is Shin Ai Tsai, and I'm a middle school student from Taiwan. In my community, night markets and restaurants are an important part of daily life. They are special not only because of the food, but also because of the human interaction and the lively atmosphere. From my research and observation, I found that most night markets are still very traditional. Workers take orders manually, and during busy hours, they often face significant pressure, while customers must wait in long lines. However, AI has the potential to improve efficiency to improve this situation. For example, AI in ordering systems can make the process faster and more convenient. And inventory systems can help reduce workers' workload. This shows that AI can improve efficiency in restaurants and retail. At the same time, human interaction remains very important. From my interview, I learned that talking with customers, building relationships makes the experience more enjoyable and meaningful. However, I also have some concerns. Some workers, especially older ones, may not be familiar with new technology. They may feel stressed or worried about adapting, or even fear losing their jobs. I'm also concerned that if AI is overused, the warm and friendly atmosphere may gradually disappear. In my opinion, AI should assist us, not replace us. We can use AI to handle repetitive tasks while allowing workers to focus more on customer service and communication. Training programs can also help workers learn and adapt with more confidence. In conclusion, AI can make our community more efficient, but we must use it carefully. From my interview, a restaurant manager also hopes that in the future, online systems and AI can be widely used in night markets. This can help workers save more time on taking orders, while still keeping human interaction and a warm, friendly atmosphere. No matter how technology develops, people should always remain at the heart of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shin Ai. So stand by because you're going to receive questions from Professor Katrin Cole. Katrin, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so very much, and kudos to you because being the first one is a really hard job, and I think you did fantastic. So thank you for your presentation. I have one question. If you imagine the restaurant manager, what are the tasks that you would get replaced by AI, and what are the ones that you would always keep with humans? If you're thinking of a process in a restaurant, and why?
I think the text that may be replaced by AI is like sending food to customers and like some feedbacks, because like right now we use robots or online systems more often. So I think this can save more time, and it also helps the workers to feel more relaxed so they don't need to do so much work. And the ones that may not be replaced by workers is like the connection in human interaction. Customers may give some feedback to the workers, say that how they can do well and which way they could fix.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. And over to a second question, I guess.
Hi, yes, thank you so much, and congratulations on going first and also making it to the finalist category. I really enjoyed everything that you presented. And my question for you is, what role should maybe like the government play in helping small businesses adopt AI?
Sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, what role should government play in helping small businesses adopt AI?
I think because like I said, they often faced they have to do so much work by just a little bit of people in the restaurants. So I think governments can make a role like a restaurants, they could just like when people having the restaurants and control the restaurant, and the rest of the robots and AI online systems, they help the manager to send food and give feedback to the manager so that they could They don't need to spend too much time on talking with customers and communicate with them.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank-
you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Katrin and Ella. Ella, welcome. You have arrived here and asked your question. Thank you so much for your questions. Paul Pugh, who is the president of the Global Youth Challenge, has arrived. And I'd like to have Paul, before we go to our second participant, I'd like to ask Paul, if he will, to share a few words with us. And then that'll be followed by George Van de Keur, who's one of our judges, but also principal of the Arundel Academy, for to share some of his thoughts with us. Paul?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, welcome everyone. As president of GYC, I'm really glad you are here. Congratulations to all finalists. AI and the future of work is not just a local issue, it's a global one. As machine makes more and more tasks, the real question is, how do we preserve as a human? Today, you bring all your local stories to this global stage. Let's make this moment meaningful. Thank all judges for your years and years support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. And I'd like to ask now George Van de Keur, who's the principal of the Arundel Academy and one of our judges, to also say a few words.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. The GYC was founded to bring youth together from all over the world to look at issues that affect both their daily lives and their future. You know, in the past, we've talked about a pandemic. We've talked about world peace. We've had the environment as a topic. And so now it's artificial intelligence and the future of work. I hope you enjoy this. I've looked at all the videos and really enjoyed them. I think you're going to be impressed not only by what you learn about AI, artificial intelligence, but also what you learn about youth intelligence. So I think we have a new term here, youth intelligence. So good luck, everybody.
Thank you very much, George. And I believe that our judge, Jim Slaughter, is here. Jim, have you arrived? Are you able to join us?
I'm here.
Okay, so I just want to introduce you. Jim is the professor at the University of Toronto, the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education, and he holds the President's Chair in Knowledge, Technologies, and Education. Welcome, Jim. So you will be asking one of the questions after we hear our second finalist. Our second finalist, number 2, is Shahd Alsayed. Shahd, are you ready to make your presentation? So
Yes,
you'll
sir.
have between 3 and 4 minutes, and then you'll be asked 2 questions, and you'll have 2 minutes to answer those questions. Go ahead.
All right, wonderful. Okay. We are living in time where machines are starting to think, learn, and make decisions. But the real question is, what does that mean for us? As Demis Hassabis said, AI is not a robot apocalypse, it's a tool for a better future. Thank you to the Global Youth Challenge for this opportunity. Today, I want to talk about how AI is already shaping our daily lives and what that means for our future. In my community in Saudi Arabia, AI is a part of everyday life, from metro systems to self-checkout stores, making things faster and more efficient. To self-checkout, but this raises an important question. Are we using AI or is AI starting to shape how we think? One major challenge is overdependence. If we rely on AI for every decision, we would risk losing our ability to think critically and make independent judgment. Another challenge is inequality. as some countries benefit from AI than others, creating gaps in opportunities and development. However, AI itself is not the problem, it is how we use it. AI brings many benefits, such as saving time, improving efficiency, and allowing humans to focus on creativity and meaningful work. So instead of fearing AI, we should focus on wo- meaningful work, using it responsibly. This means educating people, preparing workers with new skills, and continuing to develop human qualities like creativity, leadership, and critical thinking that AI cannot replace. In conclusion, AI is neither entirely good nor bad. It's a tool, and its impact depends on us. The future will not be decided by AI alone, but how humans choose to use it. Technology should grow with humanity, not ahead of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shahd. Jim Slota has a question for you, and you'll have 2 minutes to answer that.
Yeah.
Unmute. I think I am unmuted. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I loved your essay and I loved your interview. Thank you for this, and congratulations to all the finalists. So your essay makes it clear, and I think it is pretty clear, that AI is going to make quite a positive impact on the world across all of society. And you showed some images of that from Saudi Arabia, which is neat to see those things. You said that we'll need to work alongside AI. But I wasn't really able to get a clear idea from either your interview or your essay what that might look like. So I'd like to ask you to imagine yourself in 5 or 6 years, maybe after university, as a citizen in this great new world where we work alongside AI. What kind of work would you be doing? How would AI be involved in your work? What is that? Give me a picture of what this looks like.
That's a really good question. Thank you so much. So what I mean that AI should work along it, like the workers should, like AI should work alongside AI is that we cannot like replace humans with AI. We should the AI should work alongside workers. So for example, the healthcare, like AI can diagnose the patient, but it's not always really accurate. So that's why humans should work alongside AI, because maybe AI is not really accurate. So my perspective is that the jobs that easily replaced by cashiers or barista is like it can't like AI should take the replacing or repetitive jobs instead of the important work, just like healthcare, like anything that needs human creativity, critical thinking, or even leadership. Because at the end of the day, AI is just a tool, and we should use it as a tool, not as something to be replaced, something to be assist. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the question and your answer. And you have a question, Shahd, from now coming from Professor Preeti Raman.
Hi, Shahd. Thank you so much for your presentation, and I loved listening to your teacher and you talk as well. And so I noticed there that your teacher thinks that AI will replace more jobs than it creates. She seems to be confident about that, but you seem more optimistic. Both you talk about irreplaceable qualities, like creativity and empathy. So my question is, what made you think differently than her? And why are you more optimistic that AI will not take away all our jobs?
Because at the end of the day, we're human, and this is our life. We have to work, and we cannot let AI. We cannot let the AI replace workers. Okay, so what I mean is, I believe that the most important thing is that when AI is, if we want AI to be advanced in countries, we must, if we want AI to be something really important in our country, we should let it be replaced by the repetitive jobs, as I said, like cashiers, but it cannot like be replaced by healthcare, because it's something that needs a human. It needs something that we need critical thinking, because at the end of the day, AI is like a data that human put, okay? So it's not accurate at all, okay? So I believe that maybe in 5-6 years, it may create more jobs, but from now on, I believe that it's replaced more than it's created, because as you can see, it's now like the metro, for example, in Saudi Arabia, it's used by AI. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for not just your enthusiasm, but actually like applying your own critical thinking to what your teacher said and then presenting that to us. I love your passion. Thank you, Shahd.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you both very much. So standing by, our third finalist is Alina Bansal. Alina, are you ready? You'll be receiving questions from El Amin and a question from Professor Howard Lin after your presentation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, judges. It's an honor to be here. As artificial intelligence redefines the global workplace, we face a critical question. How do we ensure that this new workplace includes everyone? The World Economic Forum predicts that AI will create 170 million new jobs by 2030. Great news. We're all excited by this, but why only us? Shouldn't a 15-year-old girl in a small town in India be excited too? My name is Alina. I'm 13 and I'm a rising freshman at Singapore American School. The community I'm here to talk about today is Kalyan, a semi-urban city in Maharashtra, India. It's where my grandparents live and where my family's roots go back generations. 2 years ago, during my vacation in Kalyan, I met Rani, the teenage daughter of my grandparents' domestic helper. While her mom worked, Rani sneaked onto her mom's mobile phone and recorded short videos. Within 20 minutes, she'd finished editing and uploading her videos on Instagram. Wow, her digital fluency was staggering, but her brilliance remained sidelined by the daily grind of domestic labor. After a few months, I found out that Rani's family pulled her out of school for an arranged marriage because they simply didn't see a point in continuing her education. In many towns like Kalyan, smartphones are everywhere, but opportunity isn't always. There are thousands of teenage girls standing at precarious crossroads. Conventional, high-paying workplaces demand academic excellence from top universities, while non-academic skills are rarely ever valued. That's why 30% of young women worldwide fall into the NEET category, not in employment, education, or training. But the wind is changing. AI is going to create a skill-based market where soft skills can finally become high-value assets. The problem? There is no roadmap for girls like Rani. We're missing 4 critical factors: awareness, accessibility, guidance, and a platform to map skills to opportunities. That's why I started the project Shakti Path, a path towards empowerment. During initial days of Shakti Path, I visited 5 local schools and interviewed over 40 students and teachers. What I found was incredible ambition and talent, but almost no direction or guidance available. I started with small workshops to guide these students about how AI-shaped workplaces would look like and what skills they should build. But I quickly hit a wall. I couldn't be everywhere at once. To scale my impact, I built an AI-native web app using Google AI Studio. The app operates in 3 parts. First, an AI engine uses the Ikigai principle to help the girls identify their passions. Second, it generates a personalized learning path with digital courses tailored to their strengths. And finally, it uses natural language processing to build a professional summary that connects them directly to relevant jobs or side gigs. The app even features an agentic AI mentor to provide real-time and personalized guidance. To date, Shaktipath has empowered over 200 students, and with more schools expressing interests, I am thrilled to expand this further. We often hear that AI is a threat to the many jobs today, but I see it differently. AI is the most powerful equalizer ever invented. It would build the skill-to-career bridges that the current workplace has missed. And I am determined to build this bridge myself for the young girls in India. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very, very much, Alina, very much. You're going to be asked a question by Elamin, last year's Gold Prize winner. Welcome back and congratulations to Ella. I did mention, by the way, in the introduction that you're attending Stanford University, where John McCarthy, one of the pioneers, first coined the term AI, artificial intelligence. You have a good question for Alina.
Yeah, Alina, well, I thought your presentation was very thoughtful and that the platform you're building is absolutely incredible. So I just had a question for you. Like, what would success look like for one girl like Ronnie in maybe like 3 years after using your platform? And what do you think the hardest barrier would be between today and that outcome?
So, what I think, thank you for the question, by the way. So, what I think is that a success could be different for anyone, like a girl like Rani. My opinion of one is when she is able to overcome her parents' thoughts for her future about marriage or skipping higher education. And one way she could do that is by showing her parents that her skills could be applied to the real world. And she could actually start earning really small wages from that. And that ability to inspire her parents to continue with her education on forward is what would look like as a success. Then 3 years from then, if she can get a job with the skills that she's built from Shaktipath, that's my idea of what like success would really look like for her. Now, a barrier would be actually convincing her parents, because in India, a lot of the funds destined for their children's education is prioritized to the brother in the family. And if she did have a brother, then those funds would go to him. Now, she needs to show her parents that the uncertainty of paying and investing for a future education could be diminished by her skills to show that she can actually earn and use these skills.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. Professor Howard Lin has a question for you. Howard, unmute. Yeah. Thank you. Just waiting for, there you go. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think my job should be replaced. I even don't know how to change my background. Elena, I really like your presentation. You not just understand this AI, but you take actions. So that's the beauty of the part. So my question actually is kind of a build on the Ella's question. So you talk about the learning should also should create a pathway to earning. But in your experience, your project just help the girl to learn. So the pathway is not end here, right? So you need to demonstrate, in a situation like India, is education really equal, education equal to job opportunity? What kind of, I think there's more work to do. I mean, socially, for girls to, not just to get education, but also have a real job or work opportunity. What do you think?
So, thank you for the question. It was an amazing point.
So my app Shaktipath actually has a career hub where the girls can use AI tools to build a portfolio, a professional summary, and try to find prospective clients. And this is basically the journey that they're going to take to get experience while they earn. They're going to be earning while they're learning too. And that's how it forms their pathway and journey to actually getting that job. And also it combines human skills as well as the ability to use AI to assist, not replace. As I said, AI would create a skill-based market in the future. And that's how the girls can use their human skills, pair it with technology, and actually make a living out of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So we come to our fourth finalist now in this first group of finalists. Fourth finalist is Yuen Jung. Hey, Yuen.
Hi.
You have up to 4 minutes for your presentation.
Okay. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, judges. When people think of AI, they often imagine big tech companies. But in my project, I saw AI inside a small traditional factory, my father's. My name is Yuan Zhang, and I'm from Taiwan. For my project, I explore how AI is transforming traditional export business. I chose my father as my case study because he runs a small knife-making factory that sells products worldwide. Although his business is very traditional, he uses AI in his daily work to stay competitive. One of the biggest changes is communication. In the past, my father spent a lot of time researching customers and practicing English. As his daughter, I saw how hard he worked to communicate. But now, AI acts as his digital assistant, which writes in Chinese first to keep his sincerity, and then use AI to translate his thoughts into professional English. This makes communication much faster and increases the chance of getting orders. Another important impact is market expansion. Before attending an exhibition in Dubai, my father used AI to find potential customers in the Middle East. AI helped him identify companies and draft invitation emails. Because of this, he connected with customers digitally before the event even started, making the event much more successful. However, AI also brings challenges. My father told me that it does not really reduce stress. It actually makes everything move faster. Customers respond faster, and decisions must be made more quickly and carefully. This taught me that AI requires humans to be even more focused. He also believes AI has limitations. AI cannot replace human judgment in building relationships or trust. My father has years of experience, and that is something a machine cannot just replace. Because AI sometimes provide incorrect information, he always double checks every small details. So from this experience, I learned that AI is not replacing humans. It is a collaborator. AI handles repetitive tasks, but humans use imagination and experience to make the most important decisions. In conclusion, my father's story shows that AI is giving traditional business a new chance to compete in the world. I think that we should use AI for its speed, but always rely on our own brains for the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Very, very good advice. Just before I ask George Vanderkeer to provide a question to you, I just want to say I've referred to George as the principal of Arundel Academy, but he's so much more than that. He is a former science curriculum advisor to the Toronto District School Board and former director of a very prestigious Ontario Science Centre, in addition to being a principal. George, you have a question?
And you know what I really enjoyed? I really enjoyed the video listening to your father. It's science, but I really you had shown one of those knives. So besides marketing,
I think there's an issue with mute.
Yuen, that was a great presentation. Yeah. Sorry about the muting. I really enjoyed your video, especially interviewing your father. I really do wish he had shown one of those one of those knives that he produces. So, besides marketing and administrative work, can you see any job in the future that AI might do, say in the area of design, that would apply to your father's business?
Okay, so first, thank you for your question. And I think that the other jobs that AI they might replace is that such as the librarian, or because that we can just use computers to search for where the books are. And the thing is that in my presentation, I've talked about that AI is just a tool and we can use it to cooperate with them, and it makes our life faster. So I think that most of the jobs that would be replaced are the jobs that are much easier and doesn't have any important stuff for us to do. So it might let us be more convenient in the future.
Mm-hmm. Do you think AI could design a new knife?
I think it will, but I think my father used his heart to do all of this work, and it makes more it's more important than AI just makes it by computer or something.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to get one of those knives one day. We'll talk more about whether your dad imports to Canada. So you have a question now coming from Ella Min.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Yeah, I thought it was very thoughtful about how you introduced like a personal story, and I really enjoyed hearing about how your family business operates within AI. So, like, let's take this example to other small businesses, right? How do you think that just people in general or small business owners can develop the skills necessary for AI literacy in like this new age?
I'm sorry, but can you please say that again?
Yeah, like how do you think other small businesses and small business owners can develop the skills necessary, like AI literacy, to adopt such skills and platforms?
Okay, so I think that other kinds of works such as IT or something like we uses AI a lot will have more will have more likely to be replaced. And so for my father's job, he actually used them not very often, because he usually just use them for the not important stuff, such as translating, because it can make because in the past he lost a lot of sleep time because he works a lot. And
yeah, thank you so much for your response.
Thank you very much. I just want to remind everybody that we are going live on YouTube and Bilibili. If you've just tuned in, you're tuned in to the Global Youth Challenge 2026. We're discussing artificial intelligence and the future of work. But at this time, I'm hoping all the connections, your video and your audio, are going well for you on YouTube and Bilibili. And we're doing well on time. I think, at this point. I'm going to ask Ella Min. Ella, would you want to share? Do you have any thoughts you want to share so far on what you've been hearing?
Yeah, I really liked how every presenter has brought experiences from their own parts of the world because, like, I find it amazing that everyone, like all youth across the world, experiences so differently and are able to apply so many perspectives. So it's very enlightening to hear their agreements and differences on how AI can impact the workplace, especially as young adults about to enter it as well. So thank you so much for having me on the panel today, and thank you to these amazing finalists for sharing all your guys' thoughts.
And thank you, Ella, for sharing that thought. So now we're going to move on to our second group of finalists. We have 4 students in that group. And the number 5th finalist, the first in this second group, is Dyuthi Dhawan. Dyuthi Dhawan has a presentation. Dyuthi, you'll be receiving questions from Jim Slotta and again from Ella.
Perfect. Okay. Hello, judges, fellow finalists, and the organizers of GYC. My name is Dyuthi Dhawan. Now, before I start, I want to take a brief moment to express my sincere gratitude towards the Global Youth Challenge for presenting me with this opportunity to speak about something I'm incredibly passionate about, AI, and the powerful role it is beginning to play in shaping the future of healthcare. Artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming one of the most transformative technologies of our generation. Numerically speaking, 66% of organizations report productivity gains, and projections reveal a $15 trillion boost to the global economy by just 2030 with AI. However, there are some notable drawbacks. 52% of employees currently fear job replacement. With this being said, let's shift our focus to the healthcare industry for just a minute. The healthcare industry is currently in a global crisis. One of the largest contributors and the focus of my presentation is administrative overload. Currently, more than 40% of time is spent on paperwork, which consequently leads to longer wait times and worsened patient outcomes. I have seen the devastating effects this can have firsthand with my grandfather. He suffered a stroke and unfortunately passed away due to him not being able to receive care as quickly as possible. But it's not just patients. Mental health rates are now lower than ever among healthcare workers, with an expected shortage of 11 million healthcare workers in the next few years. Again, I have seen these effects firsthand with my mother, who suffered both mentally and physically when she was in the healthcare industry, ultimately leading her to quit her job. But this can no longer continue to be a problem. It is necessary we act on this now, and AI has the potential to do just that. It can revolutionize the healthcare system. Currently, research shows that AI can reduce workload by more than 50% in healthcare. Therefore, it is necessary for us to integrate AI in a way that benefits the future of healthcare workers and patients while adhering to the ethical and privacy concerns AI poses. This brings me to my trifurcated approach to addressing the future of work in healthcare with AI. The first pillar of my approach focuses on education, as research has shown it to be one of the most effective interventions. This includes introducing basic AI concepts and responsible use into middle and high school curricula, as well as creating free online resources to support those in underserved communities. This can be done so through partnerships with nonprofits with a global reach and similar mission. At a higher education level, partnerships with healthcare institutions can help to develop AI certification programs, since many individuals in healthcare report lacking even a basic understanding of AI. This is likely to be successful because it provides a strong incentive by strengthening individuals' resumes. The second pillar is workforce integration. Because many healthcare professionals report feeling uncomfortable using AI, it's important to build both trust and opportunity. And this can be achieved by introducing new hybrid roles that act as a bridge between clinicians and data scientists. These roles would help monitor AI system performance and ensure fair outcomes across patient populations, ultimately working to support the use of AI in administrative tasks without replacing human judgment. And the last pillar is ethical oversight. This involves creating AI oversight and ethics teams made up of doctors, developers, patient advocates, community representatives, and data privacy experts. These groups would ensure that AI is used safely and responsibly while addressing concerns such as data privacy and bias. And so, artificial intelligence will undoubtedly play a major role in the future of healthcare. But technology alone cannot solve healthcare challenges. Preparing the people who will work alongside these technologies is just as important. And this is why we must invest in this trifurcated approach. Thank you, and I'm open to any and all questions.
Thank you, Dyuthi. So you should be open then to a question from Jim Slaughter.
Unmute. Okay. Let me find my question.
No worries.
Yes. Hi. Okay. Good. I first of all just loved your very thoughtful presentation and well prepared, and I also love that you provided your references at the end of your video submission. I'm sure all the finalists did a lot of research and they found a lot of resources, but it was very good of you to actually put these up and share them. And I wish there was a place that we could all contribute the good things that we're finding and share them with each other and sort of build a pool of resources, but we can maybe talk about that a bit later. My question, I liked how you gave a clear account of where AI could show up in the health sector or workplace. And I think that does, you mentioned there's a shortage of jobs and millions of jobs. We need people, and that there's also a 50% savings potentially of time. So some of those jobs will be, hopefully even more interesting than they are right now for people coming in. And I liked that your trifurcated model. I've never heard that word used quite like that, but I've heard of bifurcated before. Now we have trifurcated. The idea of adding education, early and about AI ethics being part of that. I want to ask you a question about that. Could you say a little bit more about what that might look like to do education in AI ethics, let's say in middle school years or high school years, and how that could help prepare students for their future?
Of course, thank you for the question. And so, as I was conducting my research, I found education to be incredibly important for educating individuals on how to responsibly use AI. As we move on to the future, there's no doubt that AI will constantly be used by millions, and that involves the youth. So, kind of integrating it into curricula is through classworks and workshops within school curriculum. And this is incredibly beneficial because it kind of provides a framework on how to use AI in education. We don't want to replace our human judgment and our creativity with AI entirely. So understanding early on how to use AI and how to use it properly is beneficial. Furthermore, when individuals start to learn how to use AI properly early on, they'll be able to adapt in the future as they pursue higher education. And this will help them ultimately if they decide to pursue, for example, healthcare. It'll help them in the healthcare industry because currently not many individuals know how to use AI or even use it properly, and they have concerns about data privacy. But early education and integrating that is really important because it will allow them to be able to use it responsibly as they move on to their jobs in the future and be able to understand how to use it properly. I hope that answered your question.
Not quite. So I want to push you
Okay.
a little bit more. Like I asked about AI ethics and how you could teach that to kids. I agree with everything you just said, that using it and helping them learn how to use it responsibly is great and very important, and it will help them in their jobs later. We educators are quite concerned with ethics and AI, and you mentioned that in your framework and your model. Like, how do I teach you that? Like, how I agree, it's important to teach you that. What would that look like in helping a young person learn about the ethics of AI?
Yeah,
There's all
so
kinds of
that,
ethics issues with AI,
Mhm.
right?
I think that's a great question, and thank you for clarifying. I apologize. I think one way that I myself as a youth would benefit and learn about the ethics of AI is through real-world examples. There are countless individuals who have seen firsthand the devastating impacts that AI can have if not responsibly used. And so understanding that from a perspective of someone who has been through using AI and really understands the ethics of AI, as a youth, that would be really meaningful. I think if I was to understand the effects from a professor themselves about how AI is detrimental to education, it would really help me grasp, oh, there's how I can use it ethically. And their perspective on how they think AI should be used ethically in that field would be incredibly beneficial because it would provide me firsthand knowledge and perspectives. So I think real world examples as we continue to move forward in the curricula would be incredibly beneficial. And it would help with individuals to be able to learn what's being said because it's coming from a fresh perspective and not just an online video.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Dyuthi. Dyuthi, you have a question now from Element.
Great.
Hey, I thought you had a great presentation and really appreciated the perspectives you introduced about healthcare, especially because I know that's been mentioned a lot by previous presenters. So my question is, do you think AI will reduce or worsen healthcare inequality? And what determines that outcome?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. I think currently research finds for AI to be incredibly detrimental to AI and healthcare inequities. You know, we see bias in that. But I also think as we move forward, if we are able to kind of address these inequities by using AI in a proper manner, not by just completely replacing outcomes, but with administrative tasks, as I mentioned. So essentially what research finds from the CDC actually is that when you use AI to help with administrative tasks, you allow for more doctors to reach more patients. And this can help with healthcare inequities because we know how bad the long wait times are and the devastating outcomes which consequently result from that. And I think this can be measured itself by because currently we see global crisis in the healthcare industry, and over time, as more individuals are able to address these concerns, we would see a decline in the shortage of healthcare workers as they face mental health rates, and we would also see an increase in patient population and overall well-being.
All right, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for your question.
Thank you again, and I want to thank all the finalists who've spoken so far for keeping to the time constraints. I know it's a lot of pressure, but thank you you're all doing a great job. So we've reached our sixth finalist now, and our sixth finalist is Andrea Dolo. Andrea, you'll be receiving a question from Professor Howard Lin and also Professor Katrin Cole after your presentation.
Okay, fantastic. Good morning, honorable judges, committee members, and fellow finalists. It is a true honor to be here today. And before I begin, it was a big opportunity for me to be a part of the finalists in GYC, and I want to express my deepest gratitude for this platform, which allows us youth to discuss the challenges that will define our generation's future. Moving thousands of miles from Indonesia's capital city to the digital freedom of Manado, a semi-urban city, it gives me a head-ups. We don't need to look far into the future to see how AI is disrupting the workforce. We see it right now, in my own community and in my own classroom. It is a clear preview of a coming crisis where students, the future workers, already prefer the instant speed of an algorithm over the deep wisdom of their teachers. My name is Andrea Dolo. I am a 16-year student at 17-year high school in Manado, and I am here to discuss how AI could affect the future of work, especially in education. The key challenge my research identified is what I call professional displacement. This happens when a human expert is pushed aside because a machine is faster. This creates two major problems. First, for students, it causes a loss of independent thinking. I felt this myself. When my phone was taken away, I realized I couldn't solve basic problems anymore because I had outsourced my brain to an algorithm. Second, it devalues the profession. If we treat our mentors or teachers as optional today, we are practicing for a future where human judgment is treated as secondary to digital data. We risk a workforce that knows the what but has forgotten the why. To prove this, I ran a survey with my whole classmates, and the data was a wake-up call. 70% of my classmates now prefer AI for their daily work. Even more telling, 50% of the students feel they learn just as well with the machine as they do with human. In one of their answers, my friends value AI because it is flexible and instant. But by choosing the easy path, we are skipping the struggle that is necessary for real growth. We risk a future where human experts are treated as optional rather than essential. But I didn't stop at the numbers. I decided to interview one of my teachers as well. I chose my English teacher because as a teacher who is specialized in that field, she has faced multiple encounters when it comes to usage of AI, specifically assignment, writing, or just participating as a whole, especially where they need to understand the language. My teacher's concern was deep. They are worried about turning into tech supervisors. They feel that their years of training are being ignored because an algorithm can provide a good enough answers in seconds. We are not just losing a study aid, we are losing the human professional who teaches us how to be members of the society. Despite these risks, AI doesn't have to be a replacement. It can be a powerful assistant. If we let AI handle the boring work like grading, reviewing tasks, or organizing data, we actually free the teachers. But by what I mean is by automating grading tasks, we move the human up the value chain. This allows the profession to shift away from just giving facts and towards building characters through mentorings and ethics. In an AI-driven world, the most valuable worker is the one with empathy and critical thinking. Human skills on machines can never learn, and exactly what a teacher is best at providing. To fix the risk of teachers losing their authority and students losing their ability to think, I propose two clear solutions. First is redefining AI as a knowledge architect. We must stop using AI as an answer engine. Instead, students should gather raw research manually using their own brains to find the why and then use AI strictly to organize, tag, and structure the data. Think of the construction site. The AI is the crane moving heavy materials, but the students is the architect who designed the blueprint. The teachers no longer just grade the paper. They also grade the students' ability to manage the AI. This shifts our work from simple writing to information management, exactly what the future job markets might require. Second is what I call the human in the loop feedback cycle. We must mandate that every AI organized project ends with the human mentorship session. AI can find patterns, but it cannot find meaning. It can organize facts, but it cannot understand ethics or empathy. By requiring this human sync, we place the teacher back at the center as the final auditor. This shifts their value from information giver to expert validator, preparing us for a future where AI does the organizing, but humans provides the judgment. When I started this project to observe a trend, but I realized I was leaving the problem. Every time I chose the easy AI answer, I was voting for a feature where human expertise is optional. The real risk isn't the machine will become too smart, it's that we will become too passive. If we let AI take over the struggle of learning, we lose the very skills that makes us valuable, our critical thinking and our creative resilience. Let's use AI as a brilliant organizer for data, but keep the human teacher as the architect of our wisdom. A machine can give you a fact, but it can never give you a why. The future of work is not written in code. It is written in the human standards we choose to keep. Let's make sure that as we advance, we don't bury our own potential. Thank you.
And thank you, Andrea. So Andrea, you have a question, and it's coming from Professor Howard Lin.
Yeah, good morning, Andrea. Very good presentation. As a student, you talk about education experience in the classroom, especially you not just talk about the implication for student learning side, but also consider the teaching profession. That's very considerate. Yeah. So yeah, talk about a human touch, critical thinking. So as a teacher, we really need some concrete advice. I need some advice. Exactly how do we go beyond knowledge transmitter and give this, the critical thinking, human touch, human judgment to the student? Exactly how should professor adapt? So in a tangible way that you can see, you can appreciate as a student.
Okay, thank you for the wonderful question. So as I said, students do prefer AI to provide their best answers, but they don't understand the struggle that actually is important for their own personal growth. And for the human judgment that I've been talking about it's one of my proposed solutions that the teachers become the final auditor, while the students is the one who actually manage the data. So instead of just earning the answer, the best answer for maybe their assignment, their task, or projects, they also need an actual human judgment that might help them to improve, or that could help them to become maybe a better person, or like to have their own way in their own society.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so very much for this presentation. And I'm particularly curious, you keep emphasizing that it is a problem that we don't have the personal growth and that we are not really understanding our learning. But why is it important? AI is not going to go away. Why do you think that we should still understand basic processes? Why do you think this is still important?
For me, it is important because sometimes when we just provide the answers without actually knowing like the way or the struggle, it feels like we're just receive like the final result, but like we don't really get what we learn from it. It's just like what I said, based on my personal experience, when my phone was taken away, I feel like I do my best when I'm using my AI, but I just realized that it's not actually helping my learning progress, because I don't know like maybe the way how it can get to that answer. Is that what I meant?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but your phone's always with you. You never like.
Yeah, well, actually, that's why for in my school, our phone got restricted. Well, it
Oh, okay.
wasn't supposed to get restricted at first. Then suddenly we
Yeah.
have a sudden change of our school rules where our phone got restricted, and that's why I felt like when where I used to use my phone to help to finish my school assignment, when it was taken away, I was literally just being clueless because of how I just don't understand how it works, how it could get into that answer.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much. Nice
Thank you
presentation.
very
Well
much.
done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And our seventh finalist is Monica Mccay. Monica, you'll be receiving a question after your presentation, a question from Ella Min, and then Professor Preeti Raman.
Okay, thank you very much. So, with no further ado, good morning, judges. It's a profound honor to share a vision from our world. I join you from Brazil, a country holding 20% of the world's biodiversity, yet faces as many other countries, critical sustainability issues, especially at work, fueled by a culture of consumerism. The problem is no longer the lack of ecological consciousness, but being oblivious to how to actually make a meaningful change. According to the World Bank, global waste is expected to grow by 70% by 2050, unless we take urgent actions. We all want to live sustainably, but sometimes we cannot balance that with work. The pitch I call to action is to change unsustainable practices. And from beyond the Amazon forest, where I come from here, I believe that making an impact to bridge the gap between environmental data and individual action is essential. So that's where I step in. Hello, my name is Monica. I'm a passionate global activist who is uncomfortable with carrying an environmental burden. In 2024, I collected over 100 survey answers from my school community. 1 in 8 people reported collecting and selecting trash and just unplugging electronic devices, and also that shows space for change. In addition, over 3/4 of the respondents highly reported being motivated to change their daily actions, although they couldn't balance. Building on this insight, I founded OSDA, One Step Drives All, an environmental organization that seeks to make ecological contributions easier. By recommending small daily changes, our users become conscious consumers while saving resources in work. Reducing the carbon footprint individually magnifies the long-term impact. Furthermore, unsustainable behaviors will be tracked down and gradually controlled, and reduced. Our mission is to create a global community that compensates for their own carbon footprint and just reduces the climate change progression without requiring radical changes and unrealistic lifestyle shifts. That directly supports the UN SDGs 12, 13, and 14. In 2025, we made progress tracker and had 200 answers in our progress survey. And we learned that people started making changes and using our chatbot, which we used a custom model with APIs in our web app. We also saw and gathered information of how people were dealing with our Instagram posts. I was responsible for creating over 100 Instagram posts about environmental awareness. We covered topics from how to actually make a change and difference in work to actually how to manage infrastructure resources. We had over 15,000 views across 1 year of posting, and we had some 100 of followers. In 2026, we plan and continue to expand barriers, just trying to bring and reduce the gap between accessibility and just making green products more accessible to workers and people that have to face a daily rush, have access to products that they don't feel guilty of buying. And that makes some underserved communities have access to resources because we plan to have this infrastructure of some carbon footprint credits that will convert into in the future to a partner credit, which will give a discount on buying some environmental friendly products. So our future plans is to make the eco-friendly lifestyle a standard, not something that is luxurious. So together we can drive the future. Thank you very much. I will be looking forward to answer for questions.
Thank you very much, Monica. Well, you do have a question, and it's going to come to you from Ella Min.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciated how you took initiative and made a platform to address the problem that you identified. So my question for you is, I'm assuming that this platform is an AI-based platform, that you use AI to address these environmental problems. But at the same time, AI also contributes significantly to using water and damaging the environment. How do you evaluate the cost-benefit analysis of this algorithm and whether it is net positive or negative?
Thank you very much for your question. I really did consider this part when just analyzing and founding this project because of the environmental damage that also comes with the energy we have to use with AI. So when I consider this, we have to actually just have a significant and like a limited amount of responses that you have to use in the chat so you don't over go the limit you have with your carbon footprint credit, which you will get by reporting some eco-friendly lifestyle changes. And yeah, I really do think that AI, although it has some setbacks considering environmental damage, it really is a tool that is very powerful and can make work in ecological changes way easier to fit in a routine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So you have a question, Monica, now from Professor Priti Raman.
Monica, that was such a good presentation, but also I really enjoyed listening to your conversation with your dad, and I also appreciated you showing us the website, and what a creative way to show us the website on the screen. So thank you so much for that. And before I love your use of the phrase AI appears weightless, but carries a physical cost. That was brilliant. I'm so amazed by everything you're doing. But I want to ask you, and clearly you're a storyteller, I can see that. So I want to ask you, so you worked with, you said like 15,000 views and like hundreds of posts. And so was there actually a moment, like, can you think of a moment where you actually felt that you changed someone's behavior? Because changing behavior is not easy. You can do it, once, but if you want to change behavior, that's a hard problem. So was there a moment at all? And do you think AI helped create that moment? And maybe we can use AI for that in the future?
Yeah, totally. Thank you very much for your amazing question there. That is a essential point of view. So when I was building up the project, there was this point where I had in 2025, I had to take another survey to check the progress. So I did this interview like in 2024, in 2025 to just check what changed during 1 year. And I guess that having some personal reports also helped a lot. So I had these neighbors which reported just collecting trash way more and remembering just to unplug electronics. Just this small little changes that can actually give you not only credits, but actually give you a reason to actually want to change. So I really do believe that is a powerful tool. AI can make people want and actually drive the future. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I've said earlier, we have 16 finalists in this competition this year, and we've reached the halfway point with our 8th finalist, who is Hanuk. Hanuk, you'll be getting questions from George Van de Cure after your presentation, and also from Professor Jim Slota. So the floor is yours.
So good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Imagine a community where neighbors know each other by name, where daily life is still closely connected to agriculture, and where local issues are solved through direct face-to-face conversations rather than digital systems. And now imagine that same traditional communities encountering one of the most transformative forces of our time, artificial intelligence. My name is Ngo Thuy Ha, and my community is a rural commune where traditions, relationships, and human interaction still play a central role in daily life. AI-supported tools are beginning to appear in local government systems, with online services becoming part of public administration. While this brings greater efficiency and modernization, it also raises questions about how the workforce and community will adapt. From our conversation with my respondents, I discovered an interesting paradox. Her role sits at the intersection of administration and local government agents and everyday community life, making her perspective valuable. On one hand, AI optimized local administration by accelerating data retrieval, reporting, and eliminating heavy paperwork. However, while this modernization is positive, mere convenience and speed do not guarantee fairness or accessibility. Through my interview, I identified three emerging challenges that communities like mine may face when we apply AI into local governance. The first challenge is the age divide. While younger people adapt quickly, about 90% of elderly individuals are hesitant to use technology and prefer human interaction. As services move online, this can limit their access to essential supports. The second challenge is the legal risk in administrative work. While AI can handle routine tasks, it is not foolproof. Automated outputs require human verification to avoid errors, meaning officials must shift from processing forms to overseeing these systems. The third challenge is unverified information. AI generated content can spread faster than it can be checked, making it harder for local officials to maintain public trust and ensure accurate communication. These challenges do not mean AI is harmful or it should be avoided. Instead, we should see that AI does not complicate life. The real question is how we guide its role. Based on my interview, I believe communities like Sunhua should adopt a human-driven AI supported approach. To achieve this, I propose three practical solutions. First, since the elderly prefer in-person interactions, we create lively AI avatars to guide and communicate with them in a friendly way. Second, we handle repetitive tasks by training the AI on official legal databases, allowing it to accurately answer routine questions. And third, we ensure accuracy through human verification. When users need detailed help, the AI drafts a response, but an expert always reviews it before sending. In the end, the future of work in Sunhua should not be defined by a competition between humans and machines, Instead, it should be shaped by a thoughtful cooperation between them. If technology handles repetitive processes and data management, it can free our local workforce to focus on what truly matters, listening to people, solving real community problems, and having enough time to strengthen human connections. As the CEO of NVIDIA said, AI will not replace jobs, but people skilled in AI will. Artificial intelligence can process the paperwork, but only humans can bring harmony and empathy. Thank you for your listening.
And thank you for your presentation. George Vandekeur has a question for you.
Thank you, Hop. I really enjoyed the interview you did on your video. Since this is about AI and the future of work, could you maybe give an example of how a caregiver who's working with the elderly how their future work might be affected by AI? How might AI be used in dealing with elderly people, perhaps people who are infirm or who are having cognitive issues?
So thank you so much for your question. So a care's evil work, so as far as I'm concerned, a care's evil work could be dramatically improved with AI. Especially for those with cognitive issues, AI tools can passively monitor health, detecting faults or changes in behavior that might indicate a problem, freeing up the caregiver to focus more on direct comfort and communication. For those with dementia, AI companions can provide personalized cognitive stimulation and reminders, helping create a more stable and engaging environment. This can help human caregiver more time to address the unique emotional needs of each person. So that's my answer.
Well, that's a great answer. It's almost like you're prepared for that answer, that question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Let's see if you have a sharp answer for Jim Slota's question. Jim, go ahead.
I love the ideas here. The need to support older workers, I think, is very important. And I love the idea of building intergenerational bridges. That's always been an important goal. And it's a lovely idea. And I also liked the points you made about how these new technology movements are showing up in every setting in the world, even in small agricultural villages. Truly, this is a new moment and another, the next in a long line of educational revolution, technological revolutions, hopefully educational as well. We've seen it before, right? We've seen the arrival of the computer. We've seen the arrival of the mobile phone. And now we're seeing, this. So my question is about your community and transformation. Okay, you mentioned the transformational power of AI. But your ideas that you're expressing, and also several other candidates here today, is that AI would be best doing all the menial, bureaucratic jobs, and let's let humans do the more interesting parts. Okay. But my question again about transformation, thinking about your own community, how could AI really help to transform and not just make it all run more smoothly and efficiently and take the menial stuff away? What will be truly new here, and how will AI bring that about? It's a hard question. And you're muted, I'm afraid.
Oh, sorry about this technical issue. So, from my point of view, can you please answer it again? Because I have a technical issue with my microphone right now,
No
and also
problem.
my.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I was pointing out many of the great things about your interview, which I also loved, and your the points about connecting generations together. But many of the finalists so far have talked about how AI should be kind of really great at relieving us of the easy menial jobs, the bureaucratic stuff, and really let these humans do the more interesting, important work. I don't disagree with that. But you called AI a transformational power. And I have to say, I believe that. But my question is, when you think about your own community, you know, what does that look like? How can AI really transform things and not just make it all run better and more smoothly and make it easier on people? What's the transforming, what will be truly new, and how will AI help bring that about?
Oh yes, so thank you so much. I got a question right now. AI will not just make processes faster in my community. It will change how public service actually works. Like right now, local administration is mostly reactive. Like people come ask for help and officials respond. So with AI, we can shift to a more proactive system where information and support are delivered to citizens before they even need to ask. Like, for example, like AI can guide people through procedures using simple voice-based tools to make the services more accessible, especially for the elderly. At the same time, AI allows local officials to use data more effectively, like by analyzing citizen feedback and service patterns. They can help detect problems early and respond in a more targeted way instead of waiting until issues grow. What is truly new about this transformation is like the new of the human roles. Officials are no longer just handling paperwork. They become the problem solvers and community connectors. AI will manage the repetitive tasks, but human will focus on the trust, empathy, and the real impact. So that is what truly drives transformation.
Good answer.
Thank you very, very much. And, you know, as I'm looking at the schedule and what we anticipated, we are right on time here. So thank you so much, everybody, for keeping to the requirements and the restraints we put on you for time. I'm very pleased with what I'm hearing. First 8 finalists have really represented themselves really well. If you have family and friends who are watching on Bilibili or on YouTube, they must be very pleased. You should be very proud of yourselves. So we're halfway through. I'm going to ask Professor Howard Lin. Howard, have you any thoughts of what you're hearing and seeing so far? Unmute. Please. Yeah. You might still be muted. You're still muted, Howard. There you go.
Okay. I think technology evolves. We have witnessed several. Jim just mentioned, you know, a computer, cell phone, now AI. I think the process accelerate in a way that the young people have access and become a leader even in the future. I just heard, you know, in some of the major company, they started hiring high school student. Yeah, they thought knowledge is no longer, skill is no longer barrier to the young people. I think this competition is just showing that the young people can understand and masters, grasp this technology even if not faster than in the older generation. That's should be celebrated. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. That's exactly what I'm sensing as well. Okay, so now we're moving into our next group of finalists, and we begin with Han Yuan. Han Yuan, you'll be getting questions from Professor Preeti Raman following your presentation, and then a question from Ella Min.
Right. So, good morning. good afternoon, or good evening to wherever you're from right now, esteemed judges and fellow competitors. I would like to introduce myself first. My full name is Wen Hang, and I'm currently living in Vietnam, particularly the southern part in Ho Chi Minh City. Now, personally, in my community, I believe that finance, the financial industry, is one of the most prominent industries for AI use in Vietnam. So the government is highly encouraging the use of agentic AI, which is different from its counterpart in the past, which is generative AI, as in it can plan, execute, reason all independently without the need for human command. And I believe that this type of AI will be extremely commonly used because as of 2026 alone, already 94% of financial institutions are increasing their budget of investment in AI. And of course, with the rise of AI taking over in the clerical office, there will also be an increase in demand for AI management related jobs. So these jobs will have more to do with the alignment with the Vietnamese AI law and ethics, judgment. So for those who are educated in this industry, they can see raises in salary up to 25%. But like all changes, this one is no exception, and it comes with significant difficulties. That is, currently there are repetitive jobs such as data entry roles. Those are the jobs that are at high displacement risk, up to 90% for data entry roles. So additionally, there will also be a question for our morality. Where do we draw the line between inspiration and replacement? Music, in particular, will see a drastic drop in its revenue up to 24% in 2028, and that is predicted by UNESCO. Well, if that were the case, truly, how worth it is their investment? In order to answer that, we would have to take a look at the opportunities that they do bring to the table. First of all, companies that apply artificial intelligence can see increases up to 55% in terms of their operational efficiency and 35% reduction in costs, which could mean a lot for the economy, a reduction in prices, for example. Well, however, these technologies cannot be fully enjoyed with its current problems. That's where I introduce our solutions. First of all, that is keystroke analysis. It is a technology used to analyze typing patterns so that it can individualize learning. And additionally, I believe it should replace AI detectors as a more accurate way of a detriment, whether or not something is original or not. Additionally, I believe that a universal AI watermark should be created, since currently, according to the University of Waterloo in 2025, all image AI watermarks can be removed. So this one should be undetectable by the human eye so that we can determine the credibility of our materials. Well, I would like to end this with a comparison to mobile phones, which are extremely commonly used currently, although it was harshly criticized when it first came out because of its being too accessible. However, it has proved itself to be worth it. What is to say that artificial intelligence isn't the same? Ultimately, it is my belief that AI is neither good or bad. It is up to us as the user and the creator to decide whether that is or not. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. And Professor Preeti Raman from Metropolitan Toronto University has a question for you.
Yes, thank you so much for your presentation. I enjoyed your talk with your teacher, and it seems like it went in all directions, and he started talking about computer science, English, and then music and art. And then in your essay, you actually mentioned something about, how AI can create these, the information that is similar looking, right? And you and your teacher discussed that as well. So what I want to ask you is, actually, I'm just thinking about when I was reading your essay, I was thinking about, we have a theory, I'm a computer scientist, and Claude Shannon has this theory about entropy. And, he says that real information is something that can surprise you. So you want to be surprised by it. So you said that everything is becoming formula based, and you were actually describing something like flattening of this entropy. So my question to you is, can you think of something, especially since you spoke about music, and can you think of something that genuinely surprised you in a way that you think AI could have pulled off? And what should we now do about making sure that we don't flatten human creativity? Like we're not starting to think and do things like AI, but we still maintain our own individuality.
Okay, thank you for that intriguing question. I do believe that it is highly relevant currently in pop media. Like you've seen on Instagram, on TikTok, social media in general, there has been a drastic rise of artificial intelligence. So there are musical bands that are completely artificial intelligence, and they're getting a lot of recognition compared to smaller artists. So I believe it is an issue worth addressing. I believe there should be policies. Example, for a musical competition, there should be, like I said, with keystroke analysis, it is possible to analyze works of music rather than only focusing on the result. It should also be focused on the process in order to determine whether or not something is original, since some original ideas can somewhat resemble artificial intelligence work. So first of all, that's the policy regarding process. And number two, that is, I don't believe that AI is completely detrimental to creativity. I do believe that it can benefit in some certain ways. However, those who come up with the original ideas should be able to reap the full benefits, while artificial intelligence should only be a partner rather than a replacement. That is my answer. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Great ideas. I'm so impressed by all of the candidates. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for Professor Preeti Raman. Ella Min, you have another question.
Yeah, I really wanted to piggyback off of what you said earlier about AI not being a replacement, but like a tool, like a partner. So where would you draw the line between partnership and replacement? Because I feel like with AI, it can be a very fine line. So what do you think the line, like where do you think the line stands?
Personally, I think it's similar to articles and citations like we've seen in the past. I believe that AI should be used, like I've mentioned before. It can come up with certain original ideas or combine many ideas together, draw paths that we might not have known that could have been the case. So I believe if AI were to be used in, for example, art or music, it should be cited, it should be credited rather than taking an idea and making it as our own, even though it is not and it is formulaic. That is where I draw the line.
Totally
Thank you for
agree.
your question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ella. You asked some really excellent questions, and I have a question for you. So you were the first prize winner last year in the Global Youth Challenge, and you'll be attending Stanford University. What are you studying there? Are you applying things you might have learned about AI to your career choice?
Yeah, I'm thinking about studying something, still not sure yet because I don't have to declare a major until my sophomore year. But I'm thinking about studying management sciences and engineering or science, technology, and society. So something between there.
Terrific. That's great. Thank you. Well, good luck with all that. And
Thank you so much.
you've chosen a wonderful university, California.
Yes.
Yeah. So our 10th finalist is Arshia Sharda. Arshia, welcome and congratulations to you. After your presentation, you'll be receiving two questions, one from Professor Lin and one from Professor Cole. Thank you.
Thank you. Without further ado, I'll begin. Esteemed judges and fellow delegates, thank you for the opportunity to present. My name is Arshia Sharda, a sophomore from Livermore, California. Last summer, I had the opportunity to train a medical image classification model at Stanford AI for All program. I now understand that AI is not just abstraction, but it is an architecture. I've learned how models learn, how they fail on edge cases, and why real-world deployment remains profoundly difficult. That technical lens is exactly why a moment at the farmer's market unsettled me. I overheard two farm workers discussing an autonomous tractor. One said in Spanish, "They're going to throw us away like old tools." And that's when this project became about people. Here's something that most people don't realize. California's Central Valley, a region smaller than Belgium, produces 80% of the world's almonds, half of its pistachios, and a third of its processing tomatoes. Exports reach over 170 countries. So if you've eaten an almond anywhere in the world, it most likely grew 10 miles from my house. And this isn't industrial farming. These are 69,000 family operations, small businesses built across generations. And they're under siege. 4.5 million Californians work in industries at high risk for automation, and farm workers face compounding threats. Droughts cost California agriculture over $1 billion annually. Wildfire smoke devastated wine grape yields by 24%, and climate models project worsening conditions. So the question isn't whether California agriculture will transform, it's whether we preserve the craft, the general intuition, or lose it entirely. This is where AI not becomes a threat, but a tool for survival. I interviewed Caspar Donison, a Lawrence Livermore National Lab economist who co-authored AI in 8 pages. He reframed my understanding entirely. He explained that mass displacement narratives are technically misleading. AI systems struggle with edge cases, novel scenarios where human judgment remains essential, and the real trend is augmentation, not replacement. He also identified an overlooked opportunity. As AI scales physically, data centers demand massive energy and cooling. That creates green tech entrepreneurship, thermal management, renewable integration, waste heat cycling, and more. Silicon Valley, which captured $72 billion in AI funding last year, is uniquely positioned to build this kind of platform. On agriculture, he was direct. AI transforms farmers into data-empowered land stewards. The farm worker doesn't disappear, the farm worker evolves. And I found this proof locally. Monarch Tractor's MKV, an electric autonomous smart tractor, elevates farm workers into fleet managers and robotics technicians. San Jose's LYT.Speed AI, an example Caspar Donovan gave me, increases transit efficiency by 20% locally. Technology is amplifying human capability. And this synthesis shaped 3 of my proposals. Firstly, cross-sector apprenticeships. Partnering with local Las Positas College's Grape Science program with ag tech startups and Lawrence Livermore researchers, farm workers can master predictive modeling and developers can acquire ground truth experience, which is generational knowledge no algorithm can capture. Secondly, democratize technology access. Small farms cannot absorb AI adoption costs. Without intervention, corporations will survive, but small family vineyards might disappear. State grants for climate prediction tools can preserve agricultural diversity. And thirdly, reimagining youth pathways. Integrating robotics and agricultural data science into Future Farmers of America and other programs can demonstrate that fields are technological frontiers, not something that will be replaced. So here's what I've synthesized. AI automates what's reducible to pattern and repetition. Jobs built on predictability will compress, but roles requiring creativity, judgment, and human connection will expand. Healthcare, education, hospitality, and more. Domains where empathy remains non-automatable. California's Senate Bill 53 now requires AI developers to publish safety frameworks as well. Accountability must accompany innovation. So the future belongs to entrepreneurs constructing what AI cannot, and to individuals whose value is irreducibly human. And I think about that farm worker often. My proposal exists because I want to prove him wrong, not through optimism, but through infrastructure, investment, and intention. The future of work doesn't just happen to communities like mine. We can architect it. Thank you, and I'm ready for questions.
Thank you. And Professor Howard Lin is ready with a question.
Hi, Arshia. Very good presentation. Yeah. And you mentioned transformation several times, entrepreneurship. I love those words. You even have a proposal for transform agriculture in California. That's really good. Now, I want to ask these different questions since you said you're writing code all the time, so you're kind of a tech savvy. Maybe I can ask you a question, a definitional in terms of AI. So you mentioned the human-centered AI. What exactly is this human-centered AI?
I like that question. So actually, the program I did for AI for All was with Stanford Human-Centered AI department, and they really gave me insight on this. So I believe human-centered AI is not just AI that can be agentic and work on its own, but it requires collaboration and genuine interest in collaborating with the system to create ideas, not using the system's ideas for implementation. So examples in ag tech could be how the farmers need human-centered AI to help them with their skills and different aspects of farming, such as the droughts I mentioned. If we have prediction models that humans can develop together and provide their input for, that will really help. So for example, if a farmer realizes something that the AI algorithm doesn't, that provides human-centered AI where the human is giving their own ideas and input to the AI to validate things, not just to create their own outputs and take accountability for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. And Catherine Cole, have you a question?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, thank you for this fantastic presentation. I found it really interesting that you're focusing on agriculture, which often doesn't attract much attention. So I really value your effort in trying to solve the local problems that are there and that you're bringing forward this very important topic. My question. When we are looking at the world of AI, things become very complicated. And not everyone, as we're looking at how people are educated, not everyone enjoys academic learning, enjoys technology. There are a lot of people that are working better with their hands. They're incredibly good at imagining things, building things, developing things. Agriculture traditionally has had an advantage for people that were better at more technical and vocational professions. How do we make sure, as we are moving into AI, how do we make sure that we're not losing opportunities for people that are not enjoying operating an iPad or working within a very technologically oriented concept? What would you do to make sure that we're not leaving anyone behind?
I love that perspective and I like your synthesis. Thank you so much for that question. I definitely agree there's a lot of people who don't really work well with tech. Genuinely, there's people who are really creative out there, but they don't really like the whole coding part and the systems part. So I really understand that perspective. And part of my proposal was introducing these kinds of things with technology in different programs like Future Farmers of America. So I believe that can help integrate it with them, give them some background knowledge, but allow them full creativity. So I believe that if there are farmers out there, such as senior citizens who already have their culture made, they know what they're doing, they're having creative liberty in their fields, we don't want to pressure them to use AI, but we want to give them opportunity. And I think that with the synthesis and this huge job market for entrepreneurship with AI, ag tech startups can collaborate with these creative people and provide that perspective with technological expertise. So I don't think we have to like force upon this technological side. Not everyone has to be an expert in robotics to run a tractor. I think also we can have people or farmers integrate specific technicians on their team. So we all have a balance of creativity and technical skill. It all really comes down to the balance and human-centered part because we know that the humans who are really creative but not technologically capable or educated in that way, they need some more opportunity and guidance to learn more about this field. Because if I was a student learning about agriculture and I was taught about robotics, that would be a really big shift. But if I had a mentor to work alongside me, or like the program I said we could have at the college with the ag tech startups and the farmers, I think having a collaboration with different aspects and different perspectives of people makes human-centered AI more impactful. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. And I just want to, at this point, give a shout out to all of you. These are fantastic presentations. And I also value so many of you speaking in your second or third language. So big kudos to everyone. Thank you, Arshia. This was a wonderful presentation.
No. Thank you very much. Thank you, Catherine, for pointing that out. It's so true. So we've reached our 11th finalist. Our 11th finalist is Alec Tong. Alec, you'll be getting questions after your presentation from George Vandekeur and Professor Jim Sloat after that. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Distinguished judges, respected organizers, and my fellow finalists joining from all around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is truly an honor to be here today. Today, I want to talk about something that is shaping our future right now, artificial intelligence, or AI, and its impact on jobs and marketing. Before preparing this speech, I had the opportunity to conduct an in-person interview with someone who has worked in marketing and student recruitment for over 2 decades. From his experience, I gained valuable insights into how the industry has evolved and how AI is transforming it faster than ever. That conversation helped me reflect not only on the present, but also on my own future and the future of people my age who are growing up in the same era. So when we talk about AI, people often ask, will AI take our job? But I believe the better question is, who will lose their jobs and who will grow stronger because of AI? Let's begin with the first group, those who may be replaced. In the marketing industry, there are many professionals who have worked for years using traditional method. They're used to doing things a certain way, analyzing data manually, creating campaigns step by step, and relying on old strategies that used to work. From the interview I conducted, however, I learned that experience is no longer enough. My interviewee shared that while experience is still valuable, those who fail to adapt to AI tools are already falling behind. Today, AI can analyze massive amounts of data in seconds, generate content instantly, and even predict customer behavior. So if someone continues to rely only on old methods and does not learn how to use AI, they may struggle to keep up, not because they lack experience, but because the world has changed. Now let's look at the second group, young people entering the job market. Many students graduate with degrees hoping to begin their careers in marketing. Unfortunately, having a degree is no longer enough. AI tools can already write advertisement, create marketing plans, and analyze trends. From my own perspective, I realized that people my age are in a unique position. We're growing up with AI, but that does not mean we automatically understand it. If we do not learn how to use it properly, we risk falling behind before we even begin. But now, let's look at the other side of the story, because the same two groups can also be the one who succeed the most. Experienced professionals who choose to embrace AI instead of fearing it can become even more powerful. As my interviewee explained, those who combine years of industry knowledge with AI tools are now working faster, making smarter decisions, and are leading the field. They're not being replaced, they're being elevated. The same is true for young people. Students who prepare early, who learn AI tools, and who use them creatively will always stand out. They will not compete with AI, they will work with it. And for me, this is the most important realization. Our generation does not just live in the AI era. We have the responsibility to understand it, master it, and use it wisely. So, what is the real lesson here? AI is not the enemy, but it is also not neutral. It rewards those who learn it and replaces those who ignore it. In the future of marketing, it will not be humans versus AI. It will be humans with AI competing against humans without AI. And the difference between those two groups will be significant. So let me end it with this thought. AI will not take everyone's jobs. It will take the jobs of those who do not understand it. But for those who are ready to learn, adapt, and master it, AI will not replace them. It will make them unstoppable. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Alex, for those words of encouragement and positivity. George Vandekeur will have a question for you.
Yeah. Oh, I have to learn to unmute. Good job, Alex. You did mention creativity. And so how do you think humans differ from AI when it comes to creativity? I'm not talking about art now. I'm just talking about creativity in the workplace, perhaps creating a new marketing strategy, that kind of thing.
Well, I would say creativity is one of our strongest points as humans. One of the things that AI can't really compete with us is in creativity, for example, due to us being made to be to create ideas and AI is only for utilizing to work more efficiently. They're not really good at being creative. So that is our strong point. We are made to be creative instead. So humans can be creative in work by figuring out new strategies, finding flaws in different things, and figure out a way to solve it rather than just relying on AI.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much. And Jim, you have a question.
Okay. Alex, so there's a bear chasing us. I don't have to run faster than the bear. I just have to run faster than you.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understand. I'm really struck by your kind of resolving all of this into basically a competition. And you've said that a couple of times in your video and your presentation. The kind of competition for those of us who can master the use of AI, we sort of come out on top, and those who don't. You know, I'm a bit alarmed by this, although I don't disagree. And I think it's true in many technological revolutions. Those who can get with the program will benefit the most. In computers, for example, when laptops came in, you know, business people who could put all that stuff online and who could jump to the internet age, they won. You know, essentially they came out on top. So yes. But I think with AI, we're hearing a little bit more extreme version of this. That we hear, and many people agree, that lots of the easier jobs, the more kind of menial jobs, maybe all of them, or at least half of them, will be disappearing. Okay, so the question I have for you, and I guess it's just one for you to think about now, what happens to all those people who don't win the competition? You know, the economy needs everyone to have jobs so they can pay for their homes and their foods and life, right? And if AI can do all those easy jobs and only the ones who win the competition will get the good jobs, what happens to all the others?
Well, thank you for the question, Mr. Slaughter.
And it's not an easy question either. Many of us are struggling with this, so I appreciate hearing your thoughts.
Yes. Well, for the group of people who will potentially have their jobs replaced due to the usage of AI going up, I believe they will have to find more alternatives in order to continue living the way they currently are. For example, they might need to find other jobs that are, well, can't really be replaced right now. For example, cooking, restaurants, and other jobs that requires manual labor, for example, because those are the jobs that AI can't really do yet. They're not advanced enough in order to do those things. So I guess in order for them to continue living the way they want to right now, they would have to resort to either adapting and start utilizing those tools better and get on with the times, or they might have to find other jobs that might fit them better and can't really be replaced right now.
Okay, so your dad, who just can't figure out AI and doesn't want to, I don't know your dad, by the way, but you know, somebody's dad who has a great job right now at a bank or as a lawyer or as somebody whose job is going away will have to go sweep the streets. Wait, a robot could do that. Yeah, these are complicated things that we all need to think about, but I don't think there's quite as many of those cooking jobs as you suggest that will be available for all these people.
Yes. So I believe there will be other jobs as well, other than just manual labor, of course. They can use their experience from their old jobs in order to start, for example, a company or something. So if you're good at something, you won't exactly be out of job when you get replaced. You just have to find other things that might suit you. You won't exactly be losing that job. You still have those experience, so you can still utilize them in other things. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I noticed Catherine Cole has put a comment in the chat box, and to everybody, you may want to check that out. So we've reached our 12th finalist. Our 12th finalist is Yao Hong, and Yao Hong is returning this year. He is actually third prize winner. Apologize. Third prize winner from the 2025. You were in the junior division.
Yes, I was.
What brought you back this year as a finalist?
Well, I just received an email saying that there's, an application opening for the Global Youth Challenge 2026. And I really enjoyed the topic this year, so I decided to join again. Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. And here you are again.
Yes,
So
here I am.
Jan, go ahead. You've got the floor.
Thank you. What do you want to be when you grow up? When we were young, adults often asked us these questions. We answered according to our interest, passion, and attractiveness of it. However, as we grew up, we became more realistic. We choose our occupations according to its income, title, satisfaction, and its possibility of being replaced by artificial intelligence. Our life choices, including myself, drastically changed from choosing my own passion to its chances of surviving in this world filled with humanly made robots. Are there any hopes in this confusing century where we are living side by side with artificial intelligence? Good morning, good evening, or even good afternoon to everyone. My name is Yen Huang, and today we are gathered here to discuss how artificial intelligence shaped our careers. In the 21st century, people often categorize artificial intelligence as a negative influence. However, according to my interview with David, who is an industrial engineer and a current physics teacher, he believes that artificial intelligence is a positive improvement. When asked, he believes that artificial intelligence will bring us convenience and efficiency while increasing productivity. Furthermore, there are abundance of articles and research papers supporting David's point of view. According to Essay, artificial intelligence has allowed automation of repetitive tasks. This allowed employees to focus more on strategic and creative tasks. There are other advantages such as improved decision making and personalized experiences for both students and workers. Therefore, this shows that artificial intelligence has its own sparks for both occupational and academic purposes. Even though there are abundance of positive aspects of this technological improvement, there are negative consequences to our society. First and foremost, the unemployment rate has been significantly rising due to the rise of artificial intelligence. According to the Yes 123 survey in Taiwan, respondents felt on average 29.2% of job opportunities would be lost to AI over the next 10 years. Furthermore, a survey conducted by Harvard Business Review found that a majority of surveyed organizations have already made low to moderate 39% or larger 21% headcount reductions of anticipation of AI. Another 21% is hiring fewer people than normal. These resources support the statement that careers are currently being replaced by artificial intelligence. All in all, artificial intelligence has significantly shaped our present and future careers. Even when there are abundance of positive aspects of artificial intelligence, it is undeniable that it has shaped our careers forever. Individuals are turning down their dream careers because of the rise of artificial intelligence. However, there are errors present in artificial intelligence which makes it vulnerable to function by itself. This allows the individuals to work efficiently with AI tools because it is crucial for humanities to work along with AI tools. And this will allow humanities to keep what us humans have been working for since youth. This is the end of my speech. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Yao. And so stand by. You're going to be receiving a question from York University's Catherine Cole.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for this presentation. If you could build on your project and you're developing the future ahead, what would be your most important hope? If you're thinking about your hopes for the future, what is most important for you?
Well, as a high school student, I believe that artificial intelligence are currently replacing humanities. And according to Ms. Huna Ferret, who is an Australia and New Zealand Trade Commissioner based in Taiwan, she said that we are in a transition era. So we are currently learning how to work along with artificial intelligence. And as a high school student perspective, I've really hoped that we will have a solution to work along with artificial intelligence. So talking back to the history, during the first industrial revolution around 1700s or 1800s, people were arguing that machines were replacing humans' work. And we have been through it. And I mean, in the past, when people were concerned about their jobs being replaced by machines, and if we think about it in the present time, it is quite similar to what happened in the first industrial revolution. And I feel like if we work among ourselves, like internationalism, or even we can work along with people from other countries to develop ideas and solutions to resolve and how we can work along with artificial
Yeah.
intelligence. Yes.
Yeah, I apologize, but I must ask a second question. If you're looking at that, and your answer is lovely, and your positivity is very convincing. What would you recommend is the one skill that everyone should still have in this emerging age of AI? What is the one thing that we should still all learn?
Well, I think it is about communication with other
Okay.
human beings. Yes. I hope that, yes.
So good. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I believe that communication is an essential skill for being a human being, because you see, artificial intelligence is currently replacing like healthcare economically or even in other safety issues. And if there's one thing that we can keep as a human being, I believe that is communication. So through communication, we'll be able to resolve how we can adapt artificial intelligence to our daily lives and to resolve the problem. And in order to do this, once again, we have to communicate with others. And I believe that is why communication is the most essential skill to have as a human being.
Thank you. Thank you for returning. Lovely to listen to you. Thanks.
Thank
And
you.
over to the second question.
Yeah, second questioner is Professor Preeti Brahman.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming back. And I remember your presentation from last year. So nice to see you again. Okay, so I'm actually going to build on what Judge Catherine Cole just asked you in terms of what human skill is important. And in your essay, if you remember, you talk a lot about like empathy and trust. And you say that, you can't replace human empathy.
Yeah.
Yet if you've been reading the news, you can see that we're already seeing people form these deep emotional bonds with AI companions. And, some of them say they're being better understood by AI, right? So my question to you is it possible that what we call empathy is just a need to be heard? And so then can AI replace us when it comes to empathetic listening?
Well, maybe artificial intelligence will provide, like emotional support for individuals. However, I think the bond between human beings are way beneficial and way stronger than the bond the artificial intelligence and a human being can make. So, for instance, a personal experience influences an individual the most. So when the listener has the same experience as the talker and the one who is suffering from a negative influence or a trauma, and if the person listening has the same same experience, then the person will likely to know what they should say. So when you're struggling with depression, let's say, artificial intelligence may provide you with solutions and empathetic words, but does it really help? I mean, a human being can give you empathetic like words and encouragements as well. And it is much more closer as we know that person has had the same experience as you, but artificial intelligence didn't. So I believe that the connection between human beings are way greater than the ones the artificial intelligence and a human being can make. Thank you.
Brilliant. I think you're making the point that simulated empathy is still very different and something that we embody as humans. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Preeti, if you wouldn't mind staying online here, have you any general thoughts you'd like to share with all of us?
Oh my God. As I'm listening to every student, each one of you is just so brilliant. I'm so motivated and I'm so glad to come back here as a judge every year because it's so nice to hear all your refreshing ideas. But as I'm listening, I can't help but feel that the future of work that we've been talking about isn't really about AI at all. It's whether we our next generation, we are able to cultivate these skills in people who are still so surprised and so moved and ask all these questions. And so I think the impressive thing about each one of you isn't what you know about AI or the idea that you're bringing in about AI, but it's about what you're already doing and what you're already practicing. And AI can't do that, which is genuinely questioning what humans are moving towards. So thank you so much, and I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, we have reached our last group. Four of you have been waiting very patiently to make your presentation. So here's your opportunity. So our 13th finalist is Ivan Yu. Ivan, you'll be getting questions from Howard Lin and from Jin Slota after your presentation.
Sounds amazing. All right. Wait, can you hear me well?
Yes, yes, very well.
All right, thank you. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, judges. Firstly, I just want to say thank you to the organizers and the coordinators for this amazing opportunity. Look, when I first saw this topic, AI and the future of work, honestly, I felt that it was pretty obvious. I thought I could just talk about AI in engineering or AI in medicine and how it improves efficiency in those fields, right? But I thought a little deeper. If AI is truly the most complex and advanced tool that humanity has ever created, as it's said to be, then it shouldn't just transform jobs. It should transform the most difficult and complex job in the world. And that job is parenting. So I went to interview one of the best, my very own mom. See, a couple of years ago, my brother moved to a school in a completely different social environment. And over time, the skills that he picked up there started clashing with the ones at home. As a traditional family ourselves, my mom could not stand it. She said she didn't know what to do, that the methods of parenting that she used since we were children just wasn't effective anymore. So she turned to AI. She talked to it for hours, describing her situation, and learned strategies that AI collected from all over the internet and perfectly tailored exactly for her specific situation. As Canada and the world becomes more diversified, every parent situation becomes so unique that AI becomes the only tool capable of adapting to that level of complexity. But there's a second impact that I didn't really expect. Parents are lonelier than you think. My dad works overseas. My mom sees him twice a year. And when conflicts arise at home, my mom chooses to carry it alone. Not because she doesn't love him, but because she doesn't want to put that burden on him. A lot of parents carry their own weight on their shoulders because they want to avoid stressing their partner who's already going through so much. So again, my mom turned to AI, not as a replacement for humans, but as an outlet where she could think out loud without consequence and without emotional cost to someone else. But it's bigger than my mom. Parenting was never considered part of a traditional workforce. But if AI can assist in raising children, resolving conflict, and guiding emotional decisions, then genuinely what jobs are left for only humans to do? We've always believed that jobs that required empathy, as we talked about previously, emotional intelligence, and humanity are safe. But parenting contains all of these, and AI is already being a part of it. So what we have to realize is that the future of work isn't about engineers or doctors losing jobs. Because when AI enters parenting, it's not just helping us work better, it's helping us be human better. But if AI helps raise the next generation, then who is shaping the future? AI was supposed to take over our jobs, but instead it's entering the one role that we thought could never be replaced, not the worker, but the parent. Because parenting doesn't produce work, parenting produces people. And if AI helps shape people, then that doesn't just change the future of work, it changes who's in control of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. I remember you from last year. You also stood up and used
Yeah,
your
I
body to communicate. Ivan was a second place winner from last year in the senior division. So congratulations and great on you for coming back and also being a finalist. Howard Lin has a question for you.
Evan, I looked at the screen. I said that that's you, because I'm not surprised because I also a parent from Asia, right? But I love your paper. At the beginning I thought now because the AI, a lot of the students can write the thesis using AI, right? But yours is not.
Thank you.
I can tell that. So I think your paper, the talk, little bit changed the direction. I think, as you said, you think deeper. Wow, is a place for parenting, for solving cultural conflict. What a thought. I think you said that AI in parenting is not just about the future of work. It's about the future of the world. Oh my God. That's very deep. Yeah. So you answer all the questions I prepared. So maybe I ask you a different question. You talk about your own YouTube channel. You have a what? Yeah. So I'm thinking possible you can maybe this is the next step to develop some psychology agent solving parenting solution. Yeah, maybe you talk about something you're passionate about, this parenting thing.
Definitely. Okay, so as I said before, the person that I interviewed was my mother because my brother, obviously, we're in a traditional household. He moved to a school in Newmarket, which isn't a very Chinese community. There's not a lot of like Asian values there. So when he brought different values back home, my mom and my brother clashed about like what a good mother looked like and what a good like student or a good son looked like, right? And they were always clashing. So my mom would actually come to me with this information because and we would just talk about it a lot. And she told me how she would, this was actually, I was very surprised because I didn't know that she knew about AI and she actually could use it. So when she told me, oh, I'm using this AI, I'm talking to it and it's giving me really good advice. So this just gave me a thought, right? Because I'm also, I'm very interested into business. And as you said before, I have a YouTube channel. So I really like technology and things of that nature. So I was wondering, a lot of the times when I specifically use AI, I don't really like using it the way it's just put out, right? For example, I use ChatGPT a lot of the time. ChatGPT a lot of the time is a yes AI. It says it agrees with everything you say. it never really contradicts you, right? And I think a lot of the time, when someone is trying to teach you something, like how I said, AI can teach parents how to be a better parent using all the skills posted online. You can't have a yes AI doing that, right? Because parenting it's so not strict. Like something can be right and not right at the same time. It's different with like than any other profession in that sense. A yes AI can be detrimental to how a parent acts if it's actually listening to its advice. So if a new sort of AI was created where the algorithm wasn't specifically told to say yes and agree with everything that the parent is saying, I think that would be very, very important and a very unique and good way to actually progress with this topic more.
Yeah, I even just wonder if the AI, because the develop, depending on who actually developed this AI, like you compare to ChatGPT or DeepSeek, because they're situated in different culture, right? Context. When you ask a parenting question, maybe their solution different, right? Have you tried? Your mom tried? Which one?
Actually, yeah, my mom's preferred AI for like talking to parent is, I don't know if it's very popular in the Western like culture. It's called Doubao. It's this Chinese AI, and she talks to it a lot. She doesn't use ChatGPT or DeepSeek for talking, and she actually told me like, Ivan, you should try using Doubao in like when you're studying for math or something, just to see how the answers and the way the questions are explained is different from like ChatGPT, which I mostly use. And it like surprisingly, I have done that. I've done that with like English essays, for example, with math problems, and it is very different. So the cultural, I guess, difference that you mentioned with parenting, I think it can be present, but I think the main advantage that AI has is it has the entire internet, right? And the internet, there's so much different experiences on the internet that it can take all of that, and as I said in my little speech, it can tailor it for your situation, right? Because it'll know everything about your situation, because you don't have to think about the emotional cost of maybe like your partner can't focus at work because you tell them this bad news, right? You don't have to worry about that. So that's why I think just AI is so powerful, specifically for the most important job in the world, parenting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Thank you, Howard. So stand by, Ivan, because you're getting a question from Jim Slowdown.
Unmute.
Yeah, we can hear you, Jim.
Okay, great. And great to see you again, Ivan. I love the energy, and you seem to be connected to this overall concept and question that is capturing everyone's attention in the world. It sort of took a lot of us by surprise in 2023 when suddenly we could talk to machines. And I loved your essay, and I loved the way you sort of were honest about how you got taken by surprise and knocked sideways in this. And there was a very professional way of dodging this overall question of what's happening with the future of work. So we're now on to the future of humanity, which that's fair to change the conversation. I was struck by the broad ideas here, that, and I think in the same way that you were, that there may be some part of our overall human experience that we haven't been doing a great job with, and that AI might be able to play a role. This is something like the question I asked to Hanya about the transformational power of AI, right? We're not just doing the menial jobs for us, but like what's going to actually change through this capacity. And there are ways, by the way, in which the changes will not be pleasant if the machines take over, or if bad actors get hold of it, or if there's a whole bunch of scenarios that I'm sure your generation has heard about and worried about, and still are. But I do like the positive thoughts here. And, I want to ask a question, though, about the kind of potentially dangerous, territory here. Your mom could come to rely on AI as a source of sort of guidance and support. It sounds almost like one of those films where the protagonist ends up falling in love with Siri or Alexa because, they're better than you. Sorry, they know me better. They just respond to me, and you cast that in terms of, well, I'm sparing my husband the burden of having to do this. Okay, fair enough. But I just want to ask you a question about, have you thought about the kind of downsides or the potential dangers of what happens if we humans come to need and rely on AI companionship, mental wellness support, the irony almost of AI helping make humans better, to use your words. Have you thought about the potential risks and slippery slopes of that? And I'm just curious to hear your thoughts there.
Yeah, so I actually have thought a little bit about this because there's obviously AI is a very powerful tool, right? One of the most powerful, and it can very, very easily be done wrong. Just like the quote I think you've heard before, like a knife is only as evil as the person who holds it, right? But I think we can there's obviously a lot of dangers that if AI was taken to that level, that society would go wrong. For example, there would be a lack of communicational skill between humans, which is like the core of humans, right? The core of humanity is us being able to communicate with each other. That would be lost, right? Society would break down because we have such a perfect thing, right? That's why nothing is perfect. Because if something was perfect, then we would go to rely on it, and we wouldn't have to do do a lot of things like communicating with others and going through tough things. So there is a lot of danger here. But at the same time, I want to compare this to other very important transformational things that have happened in the past that can be very dangerous, but if used correctly, are like very useful. For example, let's just say medicine, right? If someone ingests too much medicine, bad things are going to happen, right? But if someone takes the perfect amount, then it actually helps them get even better. With AI, as mentioned before here, the line between perfect is very thin. You don't know what the perfect amount is. But in my eyes, the way that you can find this out is if you realize that you're not criticizing what the AI is telling you, right? I think a big thing about parenting is, again, the flexibility. Something can be right and wrong at the same time. If you talk to AI about parenting so much to a point where you just accept what they tell you, I think that you in your mind should know, I have to stop. This is detrimental. Because the way that my mother uses AI is she uses it as a tool, right? She listens to it, but then she also criticizes it because obviously she has her own thoughts. Everyone should have their own thoughts about parenting. And that's where I think someone can see that line in the dirt about, are they using it detrimentally or are they doing it in a proper format? Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Finalist number 14 is Jia Yong Ye. Jia Yong, you'll be getting questions from George Van de Cure, and that'll be followed by a question from Katrin Cole.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Judd. Good morning, everyone, every finalist. Nice to see you. Thank you to be here. My name is Zhao Yang Ye. So I'm 17 right now. I'm an international student in Canada right now from mainland China. So right now I live in an urban condominium and attend a private school in North York, Ontario. So in the future, I want to be a successful entrepreneur. The area I live is a highly multicultural region that is concentrated with the financial center of North York. So in in the vicinity, there are many businesses such as retail shops, banking centers, and restaurants. And also there are many different kinds of food like barbecue, sushi, hot pot, and Western cuisines, which demonstrate the food diversity in my community. So I joined the AI and the Future of Work. This program is to learn about is to learn more about its impact on the future of work. So in order to conduct this process, I recently interviewed a student at the University of Toronto Roman Commerce programs about this topic, and based on the research and the interview, I argue that AI will not absolutely replace human jobs in the future. Why? Because my evidence for this argument is based on upon the fact that the interviewee expressed a certain occupations that can be instead of by AI, such as you do translation. But however, humans consecutively and continuously have to devise various ideas and divergent solutions in their careers that suggest AI could not absolutely replace human jobs that human can do. So, the best examples are scientists and engineers. So as a result, whether jobs can be replaced by AI depends on what type of jobs you are in charge of, and that can decide and know whether the jobs are replaceable by AI or not. So the examples here are healthcare professionals and skilled trade people. But however, although I do not worry about the aspects of jobs displacement, I'm still concerned about the problem of work inequity. For instance, like in the workplace, like in the company, no matter what kind of it is, like economics benefits from AI often occur to capital owners, such as tech companies and investors, instead of workers, which can cause the problem of wealth concentration. Apart from that, there are some positive impacts on AI to the future of work. Um, the best example is companies can invest in worker skills for workers who do not have enough career experience. And furthermore, like AI tools can also raise workers' earning potentials, like especially for those who learn very low wages monthly and yearly. So these are just the way like can increase their work experience to let them have more way to build up their skills that can solve the problem better, and that also can increase their habit index and living condition in which you increase the salary to them. So in conclusion, I think from my point of view, so I think AI is a mixed blessing that cannot strictly replace human jobs in the world nor the future, because it is important for people like to approach AI effectively and if and and sufficiently by utilizing AI's merits, like its advantage. You need to use that to benefit mankind, so as to bring convenience instead of letting its drawbacks hinder human development. So that means whether it's a good thing or bad thing depends on how you use it, like the usage of that. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jung. I also live in North York, where you're currently studying and living, and yeah, there's a lot of cultural diversity there for sure. George Vandekure has a question for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Good interview, Young.
Yeah.
There was a bit of noise in the background, though, so but it was good. Actually, I cannot think of a single job that cannot be replaced by AI, given enough money, given enough resources. But I'm not sure that AI would be the best at doing that job. So can you describe a job that AI cannot do as well as a human being? I mean, as I said, I think it can do any job. But what would be a job that it cannot do as well as a human being?
Like the job that human cannot do, right?
Not that human cannot do. No, a job that I had the opinion that AI can do any job, all jobs. I can't think of one that can't do it. But it probably can't do all jobs as well as a human could do it. Can you describe a job that AI could probably do, but that a human can do better?
The job can do, but AI can do, but human can do better. So from my point of view, so starting from the experience from our daily lives, so like in the restaurants, so you see like so I think to be the job of being a waiter or waitress, that is a job that human can do better, but AI also can do, but it's worse than human do. That's why I think there are some reasons. So the first reason is that so if human does it, so they can work efficiently. Why? Because they can remember like what kind of goods, like the food they can provide to the consumers, and it's easy to remember. But sometimes, like if you and also if the human can offer that to the customer, so they can work very efficiently. If you just dispatch the like the tech, like the AI, like robots, so that means so that also will be a hindrance, because it cannot work if efficiently. Like sometimes if you imagine if sometimes you don't have enough charge or electricity, so it will stop working, and you need to recharge that so it can still work. And if in this way, so it will impact the work efficiency in the local workplace, especially in the restaurant. However, for human, like no matter what their status are, like they can still work. Work very efficiently, like by using their feet to walk and provide foods in front of customers. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, that was a hard question. Of course, I go back to restaurants when I like the staff, when you have a good personal relationship with the staff, and I could never have that with a robot. So thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, George. And Catherine Cole, you have the question.
Yeah, thank you, George. See, I'm always I'm the opposite with the restaurants. I'm super excited when they have a robot and I get to push buttons. Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. I enjoyed that one. And I started thinking you're like, I'm an immigrant in Canada, you're an international student in Canada, we're in a similar environment. And I'm wondering, as you are also looking into your future and future workplace that you hope to be fair, what do you think is this international student experience doing for you? Where do you think being an international student, although you can with AI experience so many virtual worlds from the comfort of your home, where's the advantage that you're hoping to have one day compared to all the other young people that will be entering the workplace?
Sorry, man. Can you please like repeat the question
Yes.
with simple words? Like I didn't
Yes.
understand properly.
Yes, you are an international student, right?
Yeah.
So why do you hope being an international student is good for your future career in comparison to everyone else?
So the reason is why I think that being the international student compare like better for the future career, because it relates to some reasons, because I'm a Chinese. I live in my country, China, for many years, and I also know that the competitive pressure is very high in my country.
Yeah.
So it's very common in China, because even though they graduate from top, like the best university, they still have to do they most of them still doing the low jobs, like very bad jobs in the society. However, also I think the reason why being an international student better for my future career is because I can broaden my horizon. I can see the gap between China and Western country, to see that how different the two countries people live, and I can also build up some experience, like from in Canada, so that I can also use this in my nation if I go back. So like being an international student is not just a way to avoid a big competitive pressure in my country, but it's also a chance, to build up experience, to learn knowledge, and know how the work procedure, like business, I want, like how they work in the West, that's my answer.
Yeah, thank you for emphasizing adaptation, flexibility, and broadening horizon, because I still think those are the human skills that AI will not take away from us. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So we have two finalists left. We are running a little over time. I apologize for that. So if you could please, as much as possible, keep to the 3 to 4 minute presentation and 2 minute for your answers to any questions. Would appreciate that very much. So finalist number 15 is Aaron Jung. Aaron, you'll be getting questions from Preeti Raman and Howard Lin after your presentation.
Hello. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, judges. My name is Aaron Zhang, and I live in Vancouver, where technology is becoming a part of almost every job, even ones you may not expect. For this project, I wanted to learn more about how artificial intelligence is actually affecting the work in my community instead of just talking about it in a general way. So I interviewed someone with a very unusual combination of careers. He's both an architect and a stand-up comedian. At first, that sounded like a strange mix to me, but it actually made the conversation way more interesting because both of those jobs depend on creativity just in very different ways. Architecture is about designing spaces, solving problems, and balancing function with art. Comedy is about storytelling, timing, and connecting with people emotionally. Since both careers involve creativity, I thought he would have a unique perspective on whether AI can really help with creative work or not. One of the most interesting things he said was about comedy. He explained that most of his jokes and material comes from his own life experiences, things he has gone through, observed, or felt personally. He told me that AI is kind of dumb in that sense because it doesn't actually have memory in human sense. It doesn't live life, build real experiences, or understand emotions the way that humans do. It just pulls patterns and information that already exist. The idea really stuck with me. AI can definitely generate words, jokes, or ideas, but it can't truly experience embarrassment, joy, stress, awkward moments, or relationships. And in comedy, those human experiences matter a lot. A joke is often funny because it comes from something real and relatable. That made me realize that AI can imitate creativity. It doesn't really create it in the same way a person does. When we talked about architecture, his answer was more balanced. He said that AI can actually be useful in that field. For example, AI tools can organize information, analyze data, generate design concepts, and create visualizations more quickly. That can save time and make the process more efficient. Instead of spending hours on repetitive tasks, architects can use that extra time to focus on bigger decisions and more creative parts of the job. What I found interesting is that he didn't see AI as a replacement for architects. He saw it more as a tool, something that can support human work rather than taking over it completely. That changed the way I think about technology. Before, I mostly thought AI was something people were worried about, like it might replace jobs. But after this interview, I started seeing it more in a realistic way. In some careers, AI can work faster and easier, but the human side, judgment, originality, emotion, and personal experiences still matter a lot. This project also made me think about my own future. As technology keeps developing, I think it's going to be very important to build skills that AI can't easily replace. For me, that means creativity, problem solving, adaptability, and knowing how to use new tools without depending on them too much. I think the goal isn't to compete with AI in doing repetitive tasks. The goal is to become better at the things that make us human. After doing this project, I felt both curious and cautious. AI is clearly changing the way people work, and it will probably become even more common in the future. But at the same time, this interview reminded me that our experiences, stories, emotions, and creativity are still what make us unique. Jobs like architecture and comedy show us that no matter how advanced technology gets, there are still things that only people truly can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron Zhang. I apologize, I mispronounced your last name. So, Priti Raman, do you have a question for Aaron Zhang?
Indeed, Aaron, thank you so much. I see that your interview was fascinating. I really loved listening to it. And then I was wondering why I laugh at Alexa's jokes. Anyway, so 5 years ago, if you'd asked like people, right, they would have said, well, AI can't write music, AI can't tell jokes, AI would not be good at writing. But still, now we're seeing AI can write theses, AI can write novels, AI can create music. And so you are now telling me that the problem to focus on or the skills to build are creativity and problem solving, right? And so
Yeah.
what makes you confident that this time is different and we got it right and those are the two skills that we should focus on?
Well, 5 years ago, I don't think anyone knew much about AI up to recent years. There's only ChatGPT, that was a big name. But now as more people are developing new AIs like photo generators, there's like specific AIs for coding, writing stuff, math, all different things. And I think that these new AIs have more features that allow them to expand on what they provide to us rather than just simple answers like doing math or searching up a word in the dictionary.
Okay, do I have time for a follow-up, Phil? I guess
Sure,
maybe
go
not.
ahead, go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So my question is, you said like you want to focus on problem solving, right? But what if AI can actually solve those problems for us? Then what do we do? That's what I was trying to ask.
If AI if AI can actually solve example I mentioned was architecture, right?
Hmm.
Or comedy. Let's do comedy. If it can actually solve what we if it actually creates jokes that humans will actually laugh at and relate, then that's probably because another human has put it on the internet and it extracted it from the internet and put it out again. But I don't think AI actually has the capability to generate questions from a human's mind.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks, Phil.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Howard, you have a question, do you? Howard, you're muted.
Yeah, we just heard Principal George said that if AI can do any job, right? Now, you talk about a joke. We talk about a joke. That's different from stand-up comedian, right? Yeah. So I think maybe the stand-up comedian is one job AI cannot replace, right? But anyway, your interview is very interesting. I think the different perspective, comedian and architect is obvious because the creativity level, right, required for the job. I have a question, let's just say, realistically, you mentioned realistically, yeah, for future job. So now you can't say everybody to become a comedian. So suddenly we have a 1 million comedian in Toronto, but just one architect in. So my kind of a question is that would be a tragedy that everyone look for the same job, the same type of job, not just the comedian. Yeah, if there's some desired job that relatively difficult to be replaced by AI, is that the world where envision that everybody just do the same job? And is that a good ideal world? So that's my question.
So you're saying that if everybody does the same job, would that be ideal?
Yeah, because they try to avoid be dominated by the AI in their profession.
Okay, well,
Replace.
obviously, 1 million comedians in Toronto wouldn't be good compared to one architect, but I think there's no job that AI can fully replace. Maybe one level of the career, let's say a fast food chain. There's multiple chains in China that are only ran by humans, but up to the next level, they still need a human manager to just watch over. Like the simple tasks can definitely be replaced by AI, but there's obviously more and more that humans can do and humans need to do because AI just doesn't have the capability to comprehend all of that yet.
So because now the parents always ask the professor say that what major, should be better survived in the AI era, right? So in your opinion, we don't need to worry too much, right? Because every
Yeah,
job.
I believe that we don't have to worry too much, and every career has its own creative parts.
Okay, that's very positive. Thank you.
Your answer is very comforting to us, Aaron. Thank you so much. So our last but not least, as we say, there are advantages and disadvantages. Wen Wong Song to being the last presenter. You probably know what those are now, but you'll be making your presentation, and then follow that will be a question from George and from Jim. So thank you very much, and apologize for the way you've landed in number 16 position, but take advantage of it.
Okay, so can you hear me clearly?
Go ahead.
Okay, so AI is currently transforming many areas of industries. In 2025, every one of 5 firms were reported using AI, and 83% of companies expect to retrain workers because of it. I think that AI will affect my work future too. So since I was in second grade, I have been preparing myself to be a Chinese medicine doctor. But recently, my father has been writing prompts and symptoms to the AI, and AI has been providing us instructions for brewing herbal tea, and it worked. But I was quite discouraged. I mean, if AI can do this so well, why will I, or why will humans be needed? Hello, my name is Wen Shen. Firstly, I would like to express my gratitude to the GYC judges for selecting me as one of the finalists. It's a great honor, and I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. So, as I'm a student, I'll be focusing on educational areas and fields. So, the percentage of educators using AI in their work has doubled from the 34% of 2023 to 61% in 2026. This shows that AI is not only changing how students learn, but also how teachers teach. So to gather more information and perspective, I interviewed the multimedia marketing director of my school, Mr. Huang. To him, AI is a useful tool and assistant, and it helps him create engaging and personalized education for students. However, he pointed out that AI may cause overdependence, and that human input and editing is still very much essential. And I do believe that overdependence is one of the most important challenges that AI brings, because I personally, and lots of classmates as well as some teachers, use AI for researching, summarizing, or proofreading. But I think that we shouldn't ban people from using AI, because that's why AI was invented, right? So I think that we should teach people how to use it wisely and responsibly. So a classroom does reflect a whole world. So workers, companies, the ones in charge, I think that AI will be a part of their work, but humans will remain crucial. Just like how teachers provide guidance, human interaction, and feedback to us, I think that workplaces will need humans involved, simply because that the ones receiving the service are humans ourselves. Also, as Mr. Fong said, AI is used more in preparations, creations, which are the more technical and early stages of teaching. And that is just like how AI is responsible for data analysis and other workplaces. In addition, I think that the skills needed in the future workplace will be different. Because, for example, as AI can now memorize information and calculate data far more efficiently than as humans, I think that, well, asking the right questions, problem solving, leadership, and self-control as well as creativity is essential in the future workplace. So to conclude, although AI will transform various jobs in the future, AI and humans will most likely work together, in my opinion, because as AI handle analysis and generation, humans contribute our ingenuity, judgments, and responsibility. So even with AI help, like the herbal tea example, humans still bring insight and care that machines just can't. So I think that if we have some critical thinking skills and check the results by ourselves, we can avoid overdependence and move toward a more efficient future. Thank you.
Thank you, Wen Suen. George Vandekeur has a question for you.
Thank you. That was a great presentation. How do you think the use of AI would affect the teaching in the science classroom? How would your science teacher use AI in the future? Not today, but in the future.
Okay, so thank you for that question. It's actually pretty interesting. So, well, science is divided into biology, chemistry, and physics, right? So I think that in the future, in the biology part, I think that AI can provide more precise analysis because we just have to like analogy. We only see those as the textbooks, but we can discuss furthermore, and this applies with physics and chemistry too. I think that with AI here, we can in the future we can discuss more about the new and the more creative aspects of science with the AI, because some teachers they just teach according to the textbooks. But of course, I think that teachers still will play a very important role in the science classroom because science is based on generations and a lot of years of research and experiment. So that I think that humans and AI will both impact the science classroom in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And the last question of the day is coming from Jim Slaughter. Thank you, Jim.
Hi. Okay. So again, I think that's a really interesting, and it's becoming a kind of a theme. The focus on emotion and ethics, and also the need for AI literacy. I liked your idea about the need to prepare, students to learn how to use AI in these ways, instead of what you describe as over dependence. I was involved in the discussions about this year's competition. I was one of a group of people who were thinking about it. And as you may know, it used to be an essay competition. Students would write an essay, and then we would judge them. But everybody in this group that was working on this thought, we can't use an essay competition anymore. That's over. It's done. That's ancient history. There's no more essay competition because the students are just going to use AI to write their essays. We're going to get 4,000 applications because some student's going to make an AI bot write the essay, and the AI bots will make new AI bots to write more essays. Like, we don't need all those essays. Even if they're good, okay? Even if they're good essays, that's not the point, right? So, well, how did we think about this? We thought up an idea for people to interview somebody, real students interviewing real people, right? So I agree with you that we need to find ways of helping students not just do their work with AI to sort of get good grades. We need to find ways of helping students think even deeper by using AI, right? It's not an easy job to think about this. as an educator, which I've been an educator my whole career, and I always try to think about how to help students learn. Many teachers and professors, they use essays, they use problem sets. Students can just use AI now to solve all these, to write all these. So I want to ask you what you think as a student who can now use AI for everything. You're welcome, I guess. You now can solve all the problems from your school with AI. What do you think we should do with education if we could change things now? And by the way, I think we will have to. It's a big disruption what's happening with AI. But what do you think students should be asked to do in school? What do you think would be a good kind of learning that happens in school that could help students use AI to really learn more deeply?
Okay, thank you for that question. It's actually very important. So I think I'll divide my answer into two parts. So firstly, our school, we have IT lessons that teach us about AI literacy. So what is AI? What is the concept behind it? And how do we write prompts that actually generate effective responses? So I think that this is part of helping this with AI in schools. Now, secondly, I think that personally, students are responsible for their own actions. So that I think that, well, when we use AI for our essays, as you said, I think that yes, we definitely shouldn't copy the whole thing. And I think that the line is drawn where we actually learn something from it and when we don't. So I think that students ourselves are responsible. For example, when you brainstorm with AI or have AI edit your summary or essay, I think that if you think by yourselves while you're writing, because you're organizing your thoughts into the words, that is how we learn. But like if we use AI, or even after if we use AI to generate it and we know it afterward, I still think that it is different from thinking it from by ourselves at first, because I think that transferring our thoughts into an essay is a whole different concept of just understanding an essay. So I think that this partly this relies on students ourselves to hear about whether we actually learn something from these AI. Thank you.
Okay, so that's interesting. You suggest that we could still have essays, but we need students to decide that just getting the AI to write their essay for them is not a good idea.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's going to work, but I like the answer because it raises the level of responsibility for the students. Okay, thank you for the answer to that, and thank you very much, and congratulations again on being named a finalist.
Thank you.
Thank you both. I really enjoyed that exchange, Jim, that you just had. So we're getting very close now to the end of the of our broadcast. Again, on YouTube and Bilibili. Our judges are now going to need a few minutes, maybe 15, to mark their ballots and their comments. And I'm going to ask our judges who can, after you've done that, if you can stay at the end of our broadcast, I'd like to do some interviews with those judges who are able to remain. Let me just say this to the students who are still with us here. You may want to do what I did, which was to go online to the universities that our judges, where our judges work, and that they're representing here today, and find out what they're currently worked on. There's a lot of information about their current interests, the things that they're doing, the research projects they're pursuing, some of the papers that they've published, maybe even some books. So I encourage you to do that, okay? Go online, York University, Metropolitan Toronto University, University York, oh my goodness, we've got the University of Toronto as well. So check out our judges and what they've been up to. George, if you can, and Jim, if you can, stay online with me while we're compiling the scores and calculating the winners. There will be bronze prize winners, there will be silver prize winners, and there'll be one gold prize winner, and we'll announce all those. We're hoped within about 50 minutes.
And Philip, did you get a
Yes.
note about my making a small announcement?
No, oh, yes, I did. Yes, you can do that. Sure,
Okay.
let's have that come now. So this is about the Global Youth Challenge Leadership Community. Jim, you and one of our volunteers, Kai, would like to share some information. So go ahead.
Well, I think Kai wanted to share even more information that I want to share, but we don't think we're quite ready for that other
all right.
sharing.
Okay. Okay.
Just because we want to really be ready with this.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say a word to the finalists. I've been a judge in this competition for about 4 or 5 years now, I think, and we've always been so impressed with all of you. And now that your presentations are over and the judges have finished judging, and we're going to need a minute to get all of our scores and all that stuff, I thought I would take a second to mention something. In particular, I want to share the efforts of one of your group, who's Zainab Hussein. And Zainab has been working with our group after we met her through this this competition back in, I think, 2023, and she was a finalist in 2022. Zainab's been actually coming and visiting our group and working with some of our research. But she always had an idea that was a wonderful concept, which was that there's no reason you shouldn't all stay in touch with each other and even get involved in sharing and building ideas and discussing after this is over. Why do we all have to go away and not see each other? And there must be some interest that you would have in discussing with each other. So Zainab has been working, and we've been helping to create a global youth challenge community, a forum that will sort of be open to all the finalists. She sent me she wanted to come and do this herself, by the way. I'm only speaking for her. But she sent me a short note to read. We're building a global community of young people who care about making a real difference, she says. This community will bring together finalists from GYC all over the world to connect, share ideas, and take action on issues that matter most to them. And I was very impressed, by the way, with some of you taking action that I heard about today. Through regular discussions and seminars and sharing resources, all of the members will have a chance to collaborate, learn from one another, and turn their ideas into meaningful projects in their own communities and beyond. With the support of alumni and peers, these projects won't just stay as ideas, they'll grow into real initiatives with lasting impact. Over time, this can become a sustained, evolving community where new members, where each new group of finalists joins something bigger than themselves. We're excited about connecting with like-minded youth, exchanging ideas and leading change, and we'd love for you to be part of this. So that's what Zainab wanted to share with you if she didn't have to go to school today, which she did. But I think that there's a QR code that you can scan now that I think maybe briefly flashed on the screen, but maybe we can put it back. And if you're interested, this is just an RSVP. Do you know that means a respond form? If you click on this, you will see a Google form that we created just to give us your email. And again, we wanted to share we built a community on the Discord server for all of you, but it's not quite ready yet for everybody to come in. We're going to invite all the finalists from the previous 5 years or so. So maybe 80 of you will be invited to join this. And then after you join, it's going to be up to you. We're not going to be involved. Zainab and a small group of others, and if you're interested in being part of that leadership, they're trying to decide the first discussions that people will have and topics and all that. So if you're interested in this, please do fill in that form. And if you're interested in, joining and helping to lead, you can, the responses of that forum will go directly to Zainab and she's got 2 or 3 others that are starting this, and they can get back to you, okay? But even if you just want to be involved in the discussions, please fill that in, and hopefully you guys can all join together and continue the discussion, not just as a one-point competition, but as an ongoing community. Okay, is that the QR? I guess that's the QR code there, the Global Youth Challenge Forum. And thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Jim, for sustaining your interest and encouraging this community. It's growing tremendously year by year. And I do want to tell all the participants that the judges. It requires a lot of time and effort and focus. Each judge will go in depth and look at all the entries for between 5, maybe even as many as 6 finalists. So it's a lot of work on their part, and I want to thank them all for doing that. And those of you who seem to come back year after year now, thank you for your sustained commitment. So we're still waiting for the scores to be calculated, and we'll be announcing winners very shortly. If you're curious about next year's competition, there will be one. It'll be Global Youth Challenge 2027. There is no topic selected just at the moment, but there will be one, and you can continue going on the Global Youth Challenge website, which is theglobalyouth.org for updates. So check that frequently and see what updates have been posted there. And eventually the title for next year's competition will be there. As I've written some keywords down throughout all these presentations. I tried to make notes on every one of the finalists' presentations. I heard some positive things like AI will become an equalizer globally, but also AI is a disruptor. I heard words like caring, and so many of you feel that AI it can increase our caring for one another using the technology. Some of you are excited, but you're also very reflective on the dangers, and you are warning us that we cannot surrender our humanity to a machine. We've always got to be think of ourselves as a pilot and a co-pilot in an airplane. We know that airplanes can fly on their own. They can probably take off, fly through storms, and land safely without pilots ever having touched the yoke. It can be done, but we would never want to fly in such a machine, would we? So let's not just fly in the AI technology bubble and turn over the role we can play. And always be aware that we have to know more than as much as the technology, and be always ready to step in when we feel that it's displacing us. We should never allow ourselves to be displaced. We are the real intelligence, not the artificial intelligence, being in this partnership that we are moving down, a road that we're moving down with the technology. Do any of the other judges, if you've already submitted your marks, does anyone want to share a thought of what you've heard today, or anything else that might be on your mind? Paul Pugh would like to say something. Paul, president of the GYC.
Okay, so everyone, you did a great job. So you are good thinkers and presenters. Just follow James' discussion, and we will launch GYC Youth Community. And one student mentioned most important skill is communication. So communication, we need a platform. So GYC is a platform for youth, global youth, come here to communicate about the critical issues. So our competition going to end, but with GYC, actually our community just going to start. So hopefully all of you can pick out a form, just participate GYC community. We just talk about maybe weekly, monthly, bi-weekly discuss whatever meaningful for you in AI age. For example, before for over 6 years, the GYC topics mostly come from judges. For next year, what is next year topic? Hopefully it's come from you guys to discuss what is topic, what you concern for next year. So we hopefully all of you actively participate GYC community. Just raise your voice, what you concern, what is meaningful for you in AI age. Okay, thank you all of you.
Thank you, Paul, for that. Anyone else would like to share a thought? We have some time here as we're waiting for our final scores to come in. As I said, we're going to have 10 bronze prize winners. We'll be assigning silver prizes to 5 winners, and we'll have 1 gold prize winner to announce. I'd like to do, after the gold prize winners announced, I'd like to have a short, brief interview with the winner.
Philip?
George.
Yeah.
George Van de Keur would like to speak.
Yeah. One difference between the contestants this year and last year is I thought that the presentations this year were more authentic. In other words, there's less reliance on AI, but I think everybody did use AI to source a lot of information. And so what I noticed was that, the world seems to be converging a little bit. It seems to be kind of coming to a kind of a consensus, kind of almost like a consensus of what's right and what's wrong. And I think AI is partly responsible, and that might be a bit of a danger because here we had people from 10 different countries all expressing the fact that judgment was important, ethics was important, critical thinking was important, creativity was important, empathy was important. These are all human things that maybe AI couldn't do that well. But it's funny how almost everybody thought that, and even no matter what country they were from. So I think, yeah, there may be a little bit of a problem that, we're all going to start thinking the same way. So I encourage a little bit less reliance on AI to do the creative part of our work. Yeah.
Just stand by. I'm going to be getting some information about our. I've just been informed that we've updated the QR code, so that will be coming up on the screen momentarily. So you'll want to scan the QR code, and this is with regard to staying in touch with other finalists if you're interested, as part of the GYC leadership community that's growing and being developed. So there it is. Pretty, I see you raised your hand. Would you like to say something?
Unless we're ready with the results, Phil, then I can
no.
hold off with my question. Okay, so
no, are we ready with the results yet? No, go ahead, Pretty. Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank all the participants again, and I want to pose a question back to you. So how was your experience participating in this competition, and what would you like to share with the organizers in terms of what could be done better because you are immersed in this world of co-creating with AI? So as we think about this competition next year, what would you like to see?
The floor is open to any comments. Yeah, you got one. Ivan.
Yes.
Ivan,
Yeah, sorry. One thing that I liked this year, compared to like the past 2 years, I believe, I don't know if I remember right, but last year was just like two speeches or like an essay? When this year we had the interview and like the video. I thought that like the format this year was like it allowed a lot more creative expression with everybody. So I think like, and I enjoyed making the video as well. I think it was really fun. So like for next year, I think that would also be like a really fun way to also engage and see the creative expression of everybody.
Dyuthi Dhawan also
Yeah,
wants to make a comment.
Sorry, just building off of that, I think this was a really transformative experience, and I think all of us gained a lot of valuable knowledge. I know myself, I learned about the role that AI is currently playing in my community and across the globe. And I think I also learned through this challenge, which was really surprising, how to better use AI and the kind of conflicts which currently arise with AI. So I think it's really important. This competition allows the youth to explore AI and kind of learn how to use it properly. And I love the interview idea because I think it helps us learn about our community. I think for next year, depending on the topic, we could even do like a side-by-side comparison of how someone's work would compare with the AI's work to kind of really understand how human creativity is really important. And I think that would be really beneficial for just seeing, AI is so important, but it can't really replace what humans are able to do. But overall, this was really a great experience, and I love being a part of it.
I have a comment to make. There's been some discussion about the fact that too many students are relying on ChatGPT and other sites to generate their work. I'm a supply teacher here in Toronto for the Toronto District School Board, and this year, since September, I've been in 25 different schools. And because I'm really interested in AI and how teachers, I think, should be promoting it, it's the advantages of AI. Toronto District School Board does, in fact, encourage teachers to speak to their students about how effectively to use it. AI can prepare exams for you. AI can help guide you through some study plan. There are lots of advantages. We don't encourage students to rely on AI to generate their original work. But as a teacher myself, I encourage students to brainstorm their ideas, put them down, share them with their teacher, and then generate a draft. If this is an essay, I'm an English teacher, so I'm thinking about literature. Ask ChatGPT or whatever to give some comments on it. Revise your essay based on those comments, but always keep originals of your work and the technology with recommendations. Have hard copies, and it requires a lot of effort and engagement on the part of the teacher. But I think that's one way we could go, letting students know that this technology can be really beneficial. It's like having another teacher, but again, you be the pilot. Don't turn over the automation to a machine. So anyway, so in the district school board where I'm teaching, we are talking a lot about it as teachers. We know it's there. We know our students are using it, and we're just going to teach them how to use it to their advantage.
Philip, with
Catherine.
Yep, with what you said too, I think that this year's contests seem to be more authentic because of the interview aspect, because that took AI out of it, and I think it's the same thing can happen in the classroom by having students work in community, discussing things and working on projects together. It kind of takes AI out of the equation until they polish the final result. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I just want to come in if we still have a minute
We
of
do.
time. We do. Okay.
We do.
Now, what I want to say is we also need to get better in addressing AI. When we talk, like it's almost at this point like AI and ChatGPT are synonymously used, whereas we're seeing so much more AI around us. So realizing how our cars are functioning, how even a fridge and a freezer right now are functioning. So all of these different levels of supportive AI and these large language models. I know there are like 4 different categories of AI, But I've also I'm the middle generation, so I've jumped right in and I've created a digital twin of myself. So all of my emails, everything is all of my initial writing is handled by my digital twin. And it's really interesting to see when you're feeding someone else all of your information, how you make this a learning opportunity for yourself. What would Catherine say is a question that my AI has an opinion on. And sometimes I'm thinking, really, this is what you think, or this is who you think I am. So it's really quite interesting when you jump in head first in seeing how it's making you more efficient. You do have time for other things, but it's clearly a kind of a reflection process for yourself and discovering all the bias. And my most favorite one on playing with biases is Apple Playground, where you generate the photos. And you're seeing, as soon as you put something in like a doctor or a pilot, a white male comes out. And, realizing how much bias is, because AI, unfortunately, is only as good as we are as humans. So we do have that responsibility. And I'm especially talking to all of these people outside of North America. We need to train AI because in Asia and in Africa, these will be the young countries. These are the generations of the futures. With many more people on the ground. So bringing this together and training AI, not just using it, but making the effort so AI can actually be the better version of who we are. I think it's a huge opportunity out there.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I meet teachers all the time. As I said, I go into many schools, and I always love to sit around and talk with teachers. Many who have graduated from York University, where you're in the Faculty of Education there, and I find that the younger teachers are engaging with artificial intelligence. They're using it themselves, lesson planning, and they're working with their students in a positive way with this technology. Older ones, not so. Rejecting it completely. It's like sticking. If you're a teacher who rejects the fact that your students may be using or could use effectively AI technology, then you're sticking your head in the ground, because they're going to use it in spite of how you feel. We need to, as teachers, acknowledge it's there. How can we use it to our advantage? It requires a lot more effort, I think, on our part as teachers to monitor it. But I need to see what my students are doing, and they need to share with me how they use AI. And the only way to do that is to have, I think, printouts and evidence on their computers, of where they are and where the computer is, the technology, and how they are the one in control of it.
Phil, could I jump in?
Please.
Jim Slaughter, I just want to also mention several of you, I think more, really were involved in some personal action. And I think I've been working with students and particularly middle and high school students for many years, but in the last 5 or 6 years, we've really listened, and we started listening more, and the students are so concerned about their futures. And these are serious issues with AI and the job uncertainty of jobs and careers. And one of you mentioned that maybe you have to give up your passion futures for a more certain career. And I wanna say that it's so inspiring to see that some of you have taken these steps to just go ahead and do something and get involved in the community and get involved with your community and really almost skip the whole school thing. The schools are still figuring this out. We're doing our best. We're trying to get you basic skills and literacies and, get into the university. Obviously, that's good. But I don't think schools have the whole answer. I don't think the teachers know, everything, what they're supposed to. And 6 years ago, the students were marching in the streets with signs, because the adults were blowing it. And I don't think the adults are any better now than they were 6 years ago. The pandemic sort of threw water on the whole protest. But, the educators aren't evil, and they're certainly hopeful and thinking, trying to do our best. But you guys really do need to push and to take your own actions and to make your own decisions and you know, I want to say that I've seen some of that in your presentations today and really appreciated it. And I think essentially you're going to have to lead as much as possible. And it's not fair for the young people to have to carry that burden. But to the extent that you're already doing it, I want to just say thank you and keep going.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for all those comments. So I'm told that we now have our lists. So we're going to begin with the bronze prize winners. So I'm seeing this myself for the first time. So as the names and their certificates with your names on them are projected on the screen. Here we go. So these are there will be 10 bronze prize winners. Oh. Second. Let's see if we can get that organized a bit better. I could not possibly read those names out.
Sir,
quickly.
Hi sir, can
Yeah.
you please show me the picture you show me just now? Can I see that?
This one here with the QR code?
Yeah, I want to see them. I want to know the scores like I get.
Oh, yeah, we haven't we're just getting that, or we're going to be putting those up. Yeah, they went too quickly.
Are you gonna like send an email to me?
You'll be getting your certificates, presumably via email. I'm looking around. Yes, yeah. I'm getting ahead. Not yes. You will be receiving your certificates online with your name on it. You can print that out. So let's see if we can show the bronze prize winners here one by one. In no particular order. The fact, okay, Shin, okay. Shin Ai Tsai. Congratulations, Shin Ai. That's your certificate.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, just no particular order. We'll have 9 more. Okay. This is what took time for us to prepare. We wanted to make sure all your names were on a certificate and that we could project it for you. Shahd Alsayed, congratulations. Yong, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Weishuan Song.
Thank you.
Weishuan.
Alex Tom.
Yeah.
Aaron Jung.
Thank you.
It's Aaron Zhang. I'm sorry, it's Aaron. Yeah. Yuan. Congratulations, Yuan.
Thank you.
Yun, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Yuan. Andrea Dolo. All your names are there. Luana, Monica Grenadier Mccay. Congratulations. You guys are bronze prize winners. Now we have 5 silver award winners. Hangnok. Dyuthi Dhawan. Dyuthi Dhawan, yeah. Hanwin. Arshia Sharda. Congratulations, silver prize winner. And Alina Bansal, silver award. All right, drum roll. I wish I had a drum. I do play the drums. I would roll it. So our gold prize winner for the 2026 Global Youth Challenge, Ivan Yu. Congratulations, Ivan. Ivan, have you got a few minutes to spare? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm curious, Ivan. Yeah, second time round. You made it to the top here. Congratulations. Although everybody's a winner, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan, what is your plan? How old are you again? And what's your plan in terms of post-secondary studies?
I'm 16 right now.
Yep.
I'm actually kind of ambiguous about, like, I know what university I would like. My dream university in Canada is U of T, just because of the placement. I love the city, so that's where I would like to go to. But like all my options are available. Like I've been looking into McGill. McGill seems really fun.
Mhm.
But those are probably my top two. As in what program? Lately, I've been very invested into business. I'm starting my own business with funds from like the federal government soon, which is really exciting. Um, and then at the same time, so I'm just really interested in business, but at the same time, also my parents have been telling me to go into engineering. So I have to figure out, like, it's one of those two fields. I have to figure that out. And yeah, I'm just kind of ambiguous right now.
Well, I'm a big fan of McGill. I went there. Spent
Really?
2 years. Yes, 2 years at McGill University. And Jim will be thrilled to hear that maybe you might be attending the University of Toronto in the future.
That's a dream.
Are you concerned about the enormous impact that AI is having, particularly on the field of business? We hear so much about that,
Yeah.
displacing entry-level jobs at significant numbers.
Yeah, I heard like I get a lot of my information from my parents, even though they're not in business. I talk to them a lot about like career opportunities and things like that. I've heard like especially things to do with like numbers, like finance, things like that. Those I believe, I don't know if I'm right, are capable of being taken over by AI because a lot of it is just numbers. And because I'm also very interested in math, that's kind of like detrimental for me because I've always thought that if I enjoy like math a lot and I'm also going to business, finance would be like one of the good options to pick. So that isn't very lucky for me, but I do want to see how AI helps entrepreneurs because that's also very interesting for myself. I think it could help them a lot, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
Okay, well, congratulations, and I'm sure you're going to do really, really well in whatever you decide to do, wherever you decide to go. Thank you so much for participating. So we'd like to have a full screenshot here. We're going to take an image with everyone's. Yeah, you can do that if you wish, but that looks great. We got everybody there. We're running about 25, 30 minutes over time, so I'm not going to extend this broadcast too much longer. I would ask those judges who can stay behind. I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask each one of you, if you don't mind. It'll be, I think, off the record, but we will record this for use in the future. Congratulations, all you guys. Silver, bronze, and gold, of course. You did a great job. I'm very impressed. This is my third year, and this year has been a stunning experience to hear what you've all to say. I'm so encouraged, both as a parent, as a teacher, as a human being, by what I'm hearing. I think you've all got your fingers on the pulse of what needs to be done, of what we need to fear, of what we need to encourage. So good on you. Let me know when we've got the shot. We okay with our image? Say 1, 2, 3. What?
1, 2, 3.
Big smile. Yeah. So this is, of course, this whole morning has been evening and afternoon, depending on where you are, has been recorded on the cloud. So it's available for you to replay, I guess. And as I said, I encourage you to stay in touch on the globalyouth.org website for any upcoming information. And if you're interested in participating next year or encouraging others to participate, please do that. We'll have a topic up there in a couple of months' time. So my name's Phil Desjardins. It's been my great pleasure to MC you this day. A couple of glitches along the way, but we made it through. Thank you.
Thanks. Alina, I sent you a message in the chat about your work in India.
So can people sign out now if they wish?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again. Bye-bye now. And good night.
Bye-bye.
Mina, are you able to stay? Oh. Yeah, Ella, are you able to stay? Who else is? Jim, I resisted, and Paul, I resisted saying anything at all during that broadcast about this wonderful book that's forthcoming, so relevant to the discussion we had about education and the impact of AI. You want to say, Paul or Jim?
I'm
Jim?
going to have to jump off. I'm
Oh,
running off to
I'm
a 1 o'clock meeting.
so sorry.
That's okay, but
That's fine.
Great as
Thank you.
always. And
Mm.
this is an impressive. I think this really is why we started this youth community, because you see these young people, they're just so amazing. And
Yeah.
we want to give them a forum of their own. We stay out of it.
Yeah.
They're going to figure this out because we're not, you know, we're not giving them the answers they need.
Sure.
Okay.
Understood.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone. Good luck, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Howard, I have a question for you. As I dug into your website and tracked you down, did some research. You are a professor at the famous Ted Rogers School of Business Management, but you're director of something that's called the China-Canada Institute for Business Development. What work are you involved in, and is any of that work relevant to our discussion today? Because business came up so many times in presentations.
Yeah, we got a mute.
No, you're good. I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a research partnership with several universities like Tsinghua University, Shanghai University of International Business, right? Yeah, so but mainly my current focus is a journal. We have a journal. I'm the editor-in-chief, Journal of Small Business and Entrepreneurship. So that's my focus currently, because last August, I just formally retired from the TMU. Yeah, so my focus, I'm still working with this institute. We have some community project, like in August, we have a Canada-China International Film Festival. So we have, with the Canada-China Business Council, we have a partnership over there. So it's education side, some graduate exchange, but basically research collaboration. Yeah.
Okay. In my conversations and some work I've been doing with Paul and Jim Slaughter, there are a lot of changes happening in China in terms of education, moving away from a system that was, let's say, very archaic, I would think, in terms of critical thinking development among students to something that's a little more democratic, a little more open-minded, I think.
Yeah.
Do you have any reflection on that?
Yeah, I think China, the education is in transformation. Yeah. Recently, the Minister of Education just published a new kind of a directive kind of thing. But the older university leadership thinking changing to a lot of from a knowledge building to capability development. One of the tools is to build on project. I think this competition is one of a kind of project to develop a deep essential capability for student, critical thinking, public communication, those skills, even the writing. Yeah. So this is this essential capability is actually become essential in the AI era. So China noticed that, so we anticipate some fundamental change in Chinese education system. Yeah, this is because they feel crisis in a way. Yeah. Crisis, but also encouraged by the innovation theme, like AI era. The AI sector in China is so much excitement among young people. I just mentioned some of the major university, major company now started hiring high school students because they said the knowledge gap is no longer there. So the young people have an advantage than even the university student. They learn the same stuff. They can learn the same. They can have the same knowledge, but earlier. Yeah.
That's
So-
impressive. That's really impressive. Just need to say that Pretty, Raman, Katrin, and Jim's, as you know, Jim Slaughter had to leave. Ella Min is also gone. So, George, you want to share any general comment as one of the judges before we sign off?
Yeah, I've been a judge so every year so far, and it seems to be getting the quality or the authenticity of the presentations seem to be getting better every year. But as I said before, they also seem to be converging. The original competitions, the presentations are all over the place. It's as if, but now it's as if we're getting presentations from a more closed community, and it probably reflects the fact that the whole world is also becoming a more closed community because of digital information being transmitted in real time all the time.
Okay, well, it's 10 minutes to 1. We've all got other things. I have an appointment at 2 back in Toronto, so I've got to move on to that. Thank you very much, Howard. Nice to see you again. Appreciate that very
Thank
much.
you.
Paul, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this again. Where everyone's back up technically. Van over there. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
so
you so
we'll
much.
sign off. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Very much. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Paul. Sorry. When I was trying to get the university